Park and Preserve. Now, fans cast votes online for their favorite chunky competitor in the tournament-style brackets that begins with 12 bears. They pick the bear they believe best exemplifies winter preparedness by the fat they have accumulated over the summer feeding on the sockeye salmon that return to Brooks River. Now, the bears often perch at the top of the falls in the river, grabbing leaping salmon out of the air as the fish attempt to hurdle the waterfall to spawn upstream. This is where Graser's cub died after it slipped over the waterfall and was killed by Chunk.
Oh, see, that's going to be the pity vote there. I would go Graser all day long.
Perhaps the most dominant brown bear on the river, Graser fought Chunk in an effort to save the cub, but it later died. The death was captured live on cameras. Graser has the conspicuously long blonde ears, the straight muzzle, according to her bio page at explore.org. Chunk, perhaps the largest bear on the river. Can we see Chunk?
I do not have a picture of Chunk.
Oh, Chunk didn't show up for the photo op?
Yeah, I couldn't find a picture of Chunk, actually.
But this is Graser.
Can you do me a favor tomorrow during trash? Can you see if you can find the video of them snatching the salmon out of the air?
All right.
Because that just seems like it'd be iconic video. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, it's not too, because it's not like they're moving fast.
Yeah, they're flopping up in the air like that.
These things are.
But they're just snatching them out of midair.
Oh, yeah, bears got some quickness now.
Annual contest drew more than 1.3 million votes. There are still 2,200 brown bears that live on the preserve in the Alaska Peninsula. You know, the black bear is typically not one you want to worry about, but that one is.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, if I'm trapped by him, do I just put on a gold bikini and lay down at his stomach and just become whatever he wants me to be?
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is on the old bear.
Such an image. Yeah. I'll be your Princess Leia.
A mother who transforms frozen rats into, quote, sexy showgirls with colored feathers, handmade nipple covers, and fake eyelashes has said her novelty taxidermy business regularly requires 12-hour days to keep up with demand. This is so strange.
What does she stuff there? Are those rats?
Caitlin Hills, 36, runs her business called Showtime Taxidermy from her home, where she sells quirky and bizarre rats for $193. The rodents are dressed, posed as glam performers, and it all began during a craft night 4 years ago. Caitlin went on to say, quote, "We watched videos online. We made our first taxidermy together. Me, my daughter, my sister. It was comically bad, but we loved it. We had such a fun time. We did it again. We made others, and the natural next step was, let's make it sexy and fun and add costumes." After posting pictures online, Caitlin realized that people were not only delighted to see her creations, but they wanted to buy them as well, and Showtime Taxidermy was born.
These poor animals, they never knew that it was going to be, I'm dead.
Now, Caitlin explains she buys the rats frozen from an ethical local breeder who supplies food for zoos, keeps them in a large freezer. The rats cost $4 each, but Caitlin ensures there is as little waste as possible as a friend uses the bones to make jewelry.
Oh, my God.
Man, who in the hell wants one of these things?
Yeah, the bones to make jewelry is worse. I don't know.
The best part is she said she was coming up with the idea and said, well, the natural next step is to put them in a showgirl outfit.
Right.
Like,
I mean,
you're just sitting there playing with a dead rat. Yeah. Well, let's make it sexy.
You know what the natural next step would be, right?
DEADTOGO, dead to go is what they are. They're bedazzled rats. Get them out of here.
Bracket challenge. Loser has to wear one of those around their neck for a week.
Oh, God, it just made me cringe.
They've got it where they don't smell now, I would assume.
Oh, I wouldn't bet on that.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't smell. It'd just be itchy a little bit, but Dunaway wore that coon skin cap for a long time.
You did. Yeah. Did you wear it on 42 or you refused to wear it on 42?
It was only 24 hours I had to wear it, I think. Maybe it was 48. Can't remember now, but I did. I went and told my news director when I showed up from work, and he was like, what's up with the hat?
Was Ballard pissed?
I don't know if Ballard knew, but I think it was the news director, Mr. Pear. And I was like, hey.
Mr. Pear?
I was like, Mr. Pear, I maybe the backup guy needs to anchor tonight. I've got to wear this hat for 48 hours, whatever it was. And he's like,
boy.
No, man. That could be good ratings. Let's give it a shot.
Were you in a suit and tie wearing a coonskin?
79-year-old woman in midfield rubbing her eyes. Is he wearing a coonskin hat?
Jim's hair's grown back.
Honey, I think Daniel Boone's doing them.
Jim's hair's grown back, and he's got a rat tail.
Did you get any response or reaction from wearing it on the news?
Oh yeah. Because I had to explain it. So
I'm just talking about from did you people coming up to you? Hey man, I saw you on the news.
I can't remember what I lost. It was something to do with Tennessee.
Oh no, I was going to have to have
game.
Yeah, I was going to have a
A hound for a pet.
No, I was going to have to get a...
Yeah.
A basset hound?
No,
A
not a
hound dog.
basset hound.
Blue tick hound?
Yeah, blue tick.
Yeah. It's going to be your new pet.
Oh, they're so loud.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
We'll get to the Buffalo Wild Wings Pick 3 coming up in the next segment of the show as we get going today. It is available for you right now to play, nextroundlive.com. Nextroundlive.com, you go there, you click on the big link that says Week 7, pick your games, and try to go 3-0 to get a ball in the bucket. Brownie, you remember the number from last week? Was it?
I think I was told 78.
Yeah, it was
Does
in
that
the
sound
70s.
right? Yeah.
2
High
weeks ago,
70s.
it was 90-something.
Yeah.
So in the high 70s, we've never had less than 60 winners. So a lot of great picks coming out there. Fun football tonight, including one really good game tonight. Last night, though, James Madison, dominating win over Coastal Carolina.
That makes what Bryant Vincent and the Warhawks did last weekend more impressive. To really shut down that JMU offense. I mean, before you could blink, I had 29 points on the board. Alonzo Barnett has not been much of a drop-off from Jordan McLeod, and I think that's one of those games JMU is going to look back against La Monroe and say, how the hell did we lose this game?
Yeah, in your world, maybe also count the money they lost in that game.
Yeah. Again, if you get
who knows what's going to happen?
If you get some Mountain West, cannibalism.
Cannibalism, yeah. There's no doubt about it.
So that was one of the college games last night, several baseball games. But as we get into tonight's schedule, we'll remind you one good place to go watch some of the games. If you're in the Vestavia area, right there on Highway 31, it's Hillside Music and Cue. Live music there, great place to watch the games. They're all about footballs on Saturdays and Sundays there with some great food. I had the chicken wings last time I was in there. It was delicious.
Yeah, I had the pulled chicken sandwich that they brought up here, and it was just absolutely fantastic. Really good neighborhood bar. If you're looking for a place, maybe you're an Auburn fan, bye weekend, you just want to go check out some college football, this is the location to do it. If you want to knock off work early today as well, happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. They've got an incredible selection of frozen drinks for the wife or girlfriend, live music tonight and tomorrow night. And for college football Saturdays, they got that $4 Hillside Light, $15 pitchers. They've got a tailgate menu during all games. An NFL Sunday ticket is available from our friends at Hillside. Great patio, good fall weather today. Get in there, enjoy lunch or dinner. John Holland, incredible chef. Stop in, see the folks at Hillside. Make sure you tell them the guys from the next round sent you.
If you like a guy or a girl with a guitar on a stage, it's a good place for music as well, not just food and sports. Since you bring up Brian Vincent a lot, LT, do you remember, Sam wants to know in the mybookie.ag chat room, did Bill Clark endorse Brian Vincent on his way out the door? Do you know if he did or he did not? And is that one reason you think he did or did not get the job?
On his way out the door when Vincent took over as the interim?
When Vincent took over the interim.
Yeah, I would assume.
But in the process after that, was Bill Clark ever in the process saying you need to make Brian Vincent the permanent head coach?
I don't. Let me see how to word this, Lance.
Yeah,
I don't think Bill Clark's opinion
mattered.
Yeah. I don't think his opinion was A, valued, or maybe
I think
B, even asked for.
I think Mark Ingram, who we all know, nice guy, I think he wanted to make a splash with a Trent Dilfer name, and it could have gone one of two ways. It could have been, you guys give me an example of somebody that only coached for a minute, had a name, and had a lot of success. Maybe it's never happened.
Well, I mean, I think there is some revisionist history going on here. I don't think UAB fans, and look, we like Brian on this show, very nice guy. And obviously he's done a nice job at La Monroe. I don't think UAB fans are going to be excited keeping him.
No.
So, I mean, it's revisionist
But you make it
history.
sound sometimes, though, like that was that should have happened.
I think he should have gotten more of an opportunity. Who was the more proven guy? Is it Trent Dilfer or is it Vincent?
Well, it's 100% Vincent.
Yeah.
I mean, you went with a completely unproven
not even
guy.
close. So
Yeah,
I'm
that
just
wasn't even
saying,
close. Yeah.
I know almost 99.9% the program would be in a better spot if he would have stayed. I don't know how it could be in a worse spot.
Yeah. I would agree with that, but I just don't know that it was going to be a popular hire. I mean, I think a lot of people
agree with that.
Yeah, a lot of people look a lot. Brian
Popular
Vincent.
hires don't always.
You're absolutely right.
Not always the best thing in the world.
Absolutely right.
So in no scenario, as we look back, do you think Brian Vincent would have gotten that job?
Oh, I wouldn't say in no scenario.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean, with the scenario, the way that season played out, what they end up 6-6?
6-7, right? Or did they win the bowl game? Was it 7-6? Whatever. They went to a bowl game,
and it looked like a huge step back because what Bill Clark had done.
Yeah, I mean,
now it looks like light years. This reminds you of Neil Callaway and the old UAB football.
Yeah, I still don't know the who turned you down, who didn't. All those things, right? So, I mean, that's what I don't know.
UAB at Army, 11 o'clock, CBS Sports Network. That's a Saturday game. Games happening tonight includes the Big Ten game, worst one they've had on a Friday night so far, Northwestern in Maryland. You don't even get Corky Stadium. 7 o'clock on FS1. Just look at the network it's on, not Main Fox on FS1. You know what they think of that matchup. But the better one tonight is Utah and Arizona State, 9:30 ESPN. Talking about a guy who's doing a good job in a horrible situation is Kenny Dillingham. He took over a mess, like with a capital MESS mess.
Yeah, I am shocked at how well Arizona State has played in year 2 under Kenny Dillingham. It's official. It looks like Cam Rising will start tonight.
No, he's not, Lance.
Our man Brett McMurphy has reported that he will start tonight against Arizona State.
Sasquatch and the Loch Ness Monster, too, don't you?
I didn't realize, I knew he had a injury to a finger. Now, there were multiple reports. Was it the throwing hand? Was it the non-throwing hand? Brett McMurphy, he reported it was the throwing hand, it was the ring finger, and he had to have stitches. So that is why he has not played the last 3 games. You would think that you could, I don't know. You tape it up, it would affect the throw. So
throwing hand with stitches is his reason.
But 100% cleared and will start tonight. That is the report.
Yeah.
And if it rips open, you have bloody balls at that point. You can't keep playing. They have
Don't want that.
You do not want bloody balls, Jim. Yeah. You ever had that?
No.
Based on Cam Rising's history, I'm sure something flukish will happen. Guy can't stay healthy.
We'll see if he's in the game tonight, but that's a fun one. You can get a play at Lance's Lock, lanceslock.com. More on that coming up in a moment. Baseball last night. Yankees move on. Their 11th ALCS this century for the Yankees, but yet it feels like they've been a little empty in the postseason. They eliminate Kansas City after a good run by the Royals, and now here goes the Yankees. They're still waiting for their opponent, but it does feel a little different about this Yankees team. They're still waiting on all cylinders to be clicking, but this team feels like they could win it all.
Especially if Aaron Judge turns it around. He was 1 of 2 last night, had a couple of walks, so he was productive last night. They were a massive favorite. It set up perfectly with Garrett Cole coming back to pitch Game 4, the clinching game for the New York Yankees. And now, what do you want if you're the Yankees? The Guardians finally get out of that 20-inning slump. They score in the top of the first, they go on, they win, they force a Game 5. So the Guardians, who win 92 games through the regular season, do you want that version where their offense has struggled, or do you want a red-hot Tigers team where you possibly, in a 7-game series, could see Skubal 3 times?
Not now.
I don't know if you will now because he's going to have to start Saturday, right? So 5 days
true.
rest.
Guardians beat Tigers 5-4, so you get a Saturday Game 5 deciding game. Skubal likely going in that one.
Yeah, so he will go in that. So you
might only see him twice in that series. Yeah, that's 2 times too many.
Right.
Because he's that good. I did see this stat, Baseball's a Game of Stats, on ESPN earlier today, that Skubal will be the first pitcher in Major League history to pitch a postseason elimination game on a 20-plus inning scoreless streak. It's a weird stat. I get it. But nobody has ever pitched an elimination game this hot is what Skubal will do.
Yeah, I'm surprised Oral Hershiser didn't. I know Buster brought him up a couple of years ago, and that was, an incredible run. I remember watching as a kid that 1988 Dodger team beating the A's and really that walk-off with Kirk Gibson in Game 1. But I thought against the Mets there was an elimination game, and Hershiser had gone 50-something innings.
Yeah, the key there is going to be elimination game, I think, because Hershiser's postseason scoreless thing was, it's massive.
No, yeah, but I thought in the NLCS, I thought there was an elimination game against the Mets. I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, so the baseball is setting up good. That exciting Cleveland-Detroit game 5-4 last night, which had a squeeze play in it and just a lot of excitement. So we get tonight, Padres-Dodgers, and then Saturday, Tigers-Guardians to try to finish up the Final Four field in Major League Baseball. How are you feeling about your Dodgers back in L.A. tonight? 7 o'clock, Main Fox.
Yeah, Yamamoto will get the start for the Dodgers. I don't know how many innings he's going to be limited to. Only pitched 3 1/3 the last time he was out. But the Dodgers are a heavy favorite in this. I don't necessarily feel great about it. They're minus 150. That's a good, solid favorite against a Padre team that Yu Darvish, you don't know what you're going to get. Yu Darvish is one of these guys that can come out and be lights out, but he's also a guy that can get completely rocked in the first inning. So I don't know. I don't feel great, but it is exciting. Elimination game on a Friday night. That will be,
it'll be a zoo in the outfield.
That's what I was going to ask.
Gosh.
I mean, do you anticipate, like if you're the Dodgers, do you clean this up a little bit? Or are you like, let's just see what happens and see if the Padres don't handle it well? I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, like Profar the other night was going berserk.
Yeah,
whatever they were saying to him, throwing at him.
Well, he did taunt him in the first inning.
He did.
So Rob's Mookie Betts, like watching the game, I don't know if you guys were watching that play. I couldn't decide whether or not he caught it and he was just messing with the crowd or if he was baiting Mookie Betts to act like he caught it. But he obviously robbed it, talked a little bit of trash, and then, a couple of beers probably. Things start flying out of the stands. That pavilion is wild. I think you got to get it under control because the problem you worry about, Padre fans come in, somebody gets stabbed.
Well, I mean, somebody's been killed outside that stadium, and they still go to games there.
Multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know that it's going to be – I don't know. I mean, I'm sure Major League Baseball has told L.A., you got to get this under control. We can't have our players in danger. It's one thing if your fans are fighting one another. I don't know. I mean, why would you say really?
Well, television ratings.
So
are you more likely to watch tonight because it could be a zoo?
You're 100% right about that. It makes me more likely to pay attention to this game. I don't know that I'm going to build my night around it, Lance, but without all that extra storyline, I'm also not sure I'd watch any of it. I'll be aware of it. So Jim's right. As far as TV ratings go, being a zoo in the outfield ain't going to hurt.
Oh, they'll be loud in left field.
Yeah. So we'll see what we get tonight with that one. And then Detroit and Cleveland, back in Cleveland tomorrow, 7 o'clock on TBS for that one if you squeeze in a little elimination baseball on your college football Saturday. We'll get to a little college football in this segment, our pick 3 in the next segment. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things I want to ask these guys in this segment about games this weekend. We can go fact or fiction, but a discussion version of that coming up. A couple of our great sponsors today includes our great friends at Gutter Cap. Fall season 100% here, 49 degrees when I cranked the truck this morning.
Yeah, yesterday afternoon in the dog park, and you could just hear those big acorns that fall all over the place.
Yeah.
And just watching the leaves drop down. Next couple of weeks, this is the mass of leaves falling. The last thing you want to do after a long work week is get the dangerous ladder out. You get on the roof, you slip, you fall, you snap the neck and die. No good to the wife or kids. Cap it, don't snap it. Right now, 45% off the retail price from our friends at Gutter Cap. Chris Stewart will come out, give you an absolutely free estimate. You'll never have to clean those gutters again. Gutter Cap patent aluminum cover system fits over most existing gutters. It will only allow water inside of the gutters. No debris at all. 205-823-2212 or guttercapbirmingham.com.
So our guy Daniel Jones, our quarterback from Hydra Life, is here. He's going to give Lance and Tyler a bag. We were going to get him to draw a bag of blood for Lance to place on this Kansas State-Colorado game, but Lance has said no mas. Yeah, not going to do it.
Going in the other direction.
Going in the wrong
not
direction.
Not as confident about it as he was.
Yeah, I mean, I just... the thing is, if you would have told me before the season I could get Kansas State minus 3.5 in Boulder,
you'd have jumped on it.
Seems like a gift.
Yeah.
I just don't know why this number's dropping.
A lot of people are very close to having to eat a lot of crow about this Colorado team.
There's zero doubt about that.
I saw, and not that the probability, the playoff predictor means anything, but if they win this game, they have a 21% chance of getting the auto bid from the Big 12 because there's 5 undefeated teams right now in the Big 12. They're one of those. And if they were to beat Kansas State, I think just the confidence it gives this team, offensively, they're already that confident. But the way they played defensively against Central Florida, if they were to do that against Avery Johnson and this Kansas State team and win this game, it's going to be a different Dion. I can't even imagine prime post-game if they win this game.
That point spread is still at 3.5. Alabama is a 21-point favorite at home over South Carolina. Games tonight at mybookie.ag. Maryland minus 10.5 as they play host to Northwestern in Big Ten play. UNLV minus 19 on the road at Utah State. And the Utes of Utah with Sasquatch playing quarterback minus 4.5 as they are in the desert, Fear of the Fork, Arizona State. Those are all right there at mybookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at mybookie.ag. You use code next round and they're going to give you that sign-on bonus. You make your initial deposit. The bonus is double your initial deposit when you use code next round. That's mybookie.ag, code next round. You can bet all those games I mentioned. Major League Baseball tonight, the Saturday games, the NFL Sunday games, and Monday Night Football, all right there at mybookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag, code next round.
Hey, don't forget tonight as well. It's banner raising night in Coleman Coliseum in Tuscaloosa. Rolltide.com for your tickets and information there. But in the 8 o'clock hour, they'll start doing a bunch of festivities, raising the Final Four banner. You can watch an Alabama basketball scrimmage, dunk contest, three-point contest. A lot of fun inside Coleman if you're in town for the football weekend over there. It's all happening tonight, Coleman Coliseum, rolltide.com if you want to go and raise that banner from the Final Four into the rafters at Coleman. Now to football. Biggest game in the country is in Eugene. It's number 2 Ohio State at number 3 Oregon. Here's Dylan Gabriel on getting ready to prepare. It looks like he's standing. Can I get this? Mike the Tiger has a cage that looks like that. Do they have a duck behind a cage? That's just the glass of the football building, but it looks like he's in front of a cage.
I didn't figure that out at first. I was like, why are all the people in the cage, or is he in the cage?
Yeah, it looked like he was on a playground with a chain link behind him.
I got you now, Jimmy.
Dylan Gabriel now on just preparing for a big game like this. He's done it a few times at Oklahoma.
As a player, just what is it to play in a game like that? What does it feel like to prepare for something of this magnitude?
Yeah, it's fun. That's why you play the game. That's why we all, want to be a part of teams that, win and go do, to the last game of the season. But, it's taking it one step at a time. If there's anything I've realized through, my 5, now 6 year of playing is like, you got to take it one week at a time, and this is the next step. And, of course, the atmosphere, the college football in general, this is what you dream of. But, you got a job to do. You got to execute. You got to play hard and find a way to win. So, of course, we live for it. And I think you just have to go back to, the basics of the process and preparing the right way.
Fact or fiction? Dylan Gabriel, best quarterback in this game, would make either team better if he was the quarterback. Basically better than Will Howard.
I think that's fact. He's better than – I don't know how much Ohio State, how much better they would be. I know that sounds contradictory, but I think he's better than Will Howard.
Yeah, I think he's definitely better. I mean, you look at the experience, 136 career touchdown passes. That is third all time. Do you guys have any idea who the 1 and 2 would be?
100th, Aaron Murray?
Nope. 136 career touchdown passes.
I think Aaron Murray's number 1 in the SEC.
I'm going to say
maybe
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore's number 2 with 142.
Wow, that way, Jim. Timmy Chang.
I was going to go Hawaii quarterback somebody.
Case Keenum.
He's
still doing commercials. He's doing like an
That's
insurance
a great commercial. No, I like
Yeah.
that commercial. The guy's driving because, okay.
Now,
Hey, we're
what
gonna go with Case
concerns
here.
me, though, is, a year ago this week, Dylan Gabriel was outstanding against Texas in the Red River Shootout, pulling an upset over Texas. But Dylan Gabriel has not. He's been sloppy with the football.
He's only got 3 interceptions. Like if you said, Brown, guess how many interceptions he had, I would have guessed 5 or 6. It's
all in the red zone, I think.
They are.
they
and
are.
2 in the red zone against Michigan State
and all
last Friday night.
3 cost them the last 2 covers. So torn on this game because Ohio State is the better team.
Yeah.
It is so hard for me to lay the points, though, because I have backed this Oregon team and just waiting for a breakout, and they haven't had it. And obviously, if they win this game, it's going to be a breakout game.
We will get into that game even more as we do the Buffalo Wild Wing Pick 3, but one more fact or fiction from that game. Lanning is the best defensive mind in this game. The Buckeyes, by far the better defensive unit in this game. Fact or fiction?
I think that is fiction.
Which part? There
I
were
would
2
say,
questions
I
there.
would say
Both?
Jim Knowles is the better defensive mind on Ohio State's side. Ohio State's got the better defense. I
They
think
do
got
have the better defense.
defensive mind.
Yeah.
You guys wake me up when Dan Lanning wins a big game.
Well, it's not always because of his defense. However,
And this game, we talked about, and I think it was you that framed the question yesterday, or maybe it was Dunaway. Who is the game more important to, or who has more pressure, Lane Kiffin or Brian Kelly? This is the
was
same
Jim.
situation. Because, Ryan Day, it is not college football playoff or bust. It's beat Michigan and win a national championship or bust. And if you lose a regular season game to Oregon, you're behind the 8 ball.
yeah, but you're probably going to get to play him again in the championship game with a chance to get a bye in the first round, so that could erase a lot of that. That is the thing. Whoever wins this game, there is a really good chance you're going to have to do it again if you want the first round bye.
Another fact or fiction for you here, off of what you just said. It's another one of these for me. More important, tomorrow, James Franklin needs that win more than Lincoln Riley does. USC hosting Penn State.
I think I would say that's fiction. I think Lincoln Riley is taking on a lot of water right now.
Now, here's the weird thing. Lincoln Riley's playing at home, but James Franklin is the favorite.
Sound like you were setting up a trend and/or angle.
Yeah, no.
I mean, these are the games James Franklin wins. Where's USC ranked right now?
I disagree with you guys. I
they're
think
not.
They're not. These are the games James Franklin wins.
Huge for Franklin.
Why do you say that?
Because I believe that Lincoln Riley, they're all in on him out there for a while because they spent so much money. I don't think USC.
I don't know if they are.
You think they would pull the plug on
I don't
Lincoln
think
Riley?
they pull the plug. No,
Yeah.
I think he's losing the fan base rapidly.
Yeah. James Franklin, I don't think, I mean, the local Penn State guys we bump into occasionally at these parties we do, or these outings, they don't seem they love James Franklin. His record says he's been really good, but he's been, wins the big games he wins, right?
Yeah, he's like the wife you're bored of, but you get home and she's cleaned the house and she's got a nice meal on the table and you're like, okay. I mean,
James Franklin could cook.
He's just good enough. But, just being good enough now in a 12-team playoff world, you got to be able to get there. And this is a game they've got to win if they want to get to the 12-team playoff. But I'll say this about road games. He has been outstanding. His last 18 road games, 14-4.
He cooks a good casserole is what you're saying.
And that's against the number, by the way.
Yeah, this match is up. He's good in road games, and he's good against unranked opponents. I mean, this is both. This is a road game against an unranked opponent. But, I mean, Jim, if USC is 3-3 halfway through the season, 3-3.
Yeah, that's awful.
I mean, that is hard to comprehend when we go back to the preseason. They're 3-3 and beat LSU.
Well,
I mean,
and the two
that's what would be
losses
crazy if they lose
are
this.
disgusting right now because you had a late lead on a team where you knew they couldn't throw the football. They still ran it down your throat to ultimately win that game on fourth down. And then you play an inferior Minnesota team and you lose. So this would be not only 3-3, but 3 consecutive losses.
Yeah, absolutely. Couple more fact or fictions in this opening segment here. Buffalo Wild Wings pick 3 in the next segment. Again, go to nextroundlive.com. It's the only place you can play it every week. Hundreds of you do it. As one presidential candidate says, it's huge. It is huge. Go play it right now.
No H, it's huge.
Nextroundlive.com. Next Round Live. That's a live look right now. Forrester's giving you a live look from our Skycam right there at the pick 3 on our website, nextroundlive.com. He's clicking right there live on the screen, and that's how you go play it right there.
Look at the fall
foliage
in the background.
Yes, thank you, Brownie. So go play right there, Buffalo Wild Wings. The show brought to you by our friends at Inverness Country Club.
Yeah, I want to remind you, we're going to be out there broadcasting Tuesday. We'll be there from 4 to 7, Chatterproof book launch. Our friend Lauren Sisler. We're going to have some food out there. We will have a cash bar, but drop in, see us from 4 until 7. We'll be doing a live show from 4 to 5. Then we've got a live Q&A with Lauren. Dunaway knows a lot about this book. It is an incredible story. So really looking forward to not only talking about the book, but also letting you guys come out in maybe an open house like setup for Inverness Country Club. If you've thought about joining the country club, this is your place. They've got memberships that fit everyone, from the social to the golf membership, childcare, big plus. For more information, take a tour, iccalabama.com, or just come see us 4 o'clock on Tuesday at the Inverness Country Club.
I would say this, Brownie, about Inverness Country Club. There are some people who maybe have never been in a country club, or you've gone to certain ones and you have a feeling about what country clubs are. I've never felt more comfortable at a country club than I do at Inverness Country Club. I enjoy my time there every time I'm there.
Oh,
Not
yeah,
only
it's a
in
great
golf,
place. Yep.
but the pool set up, everything they have there is very comfortable.
Saw Sisler at dinner last night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, her birthday last night, celebrating her birthday with her husband, John Willard, just the two of them, baby at home with a babysitter. And she told me to tell you boys hello, and John did too. But good to see her out and about. I don't think I'm sharing any privileged information here. She gets the weekend off. She was supposed to have the South Florida game, and it got moved. And because it got moved, they had to change the
cruise.
Really just the way they're doing the broadcast, so they're not going to do sideline. So nice weekend off for her mid-season.
So, it's good on a birthday weekend.
That's right.
Works out really good. Back to the fact or fiction. 2 more in this segment. Buffalo Wild Wings pick 3 in the next one. Travis Hunter in that Colorado hosting Kansas State game. Travis Hunter, better than Deion Sanders at this point in his career. Deion at Florida State, Travis Hunter at Colorado. Travis Hunter, better than Deion Sanders at this point in his career, fact or fiction?
The difference was Deion wasn't playing any offense. And Deion, the cornerback, you guys remember how good he was.
Returned punts and kicks?
He did return punts.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember he took one to the house. He basically called a shot against Clemson one time. It's just I can't get Deion's professional career winning championships.
Yeah, it's so hard just to think of his college career. Yeah.
I mean,
I would say better as a college player.
Yeah, probably.
Right now. Yeah.
I mean, there's a good chance he's going to win a Heisman Trophy. There's a chance he's going to be a top. He could be the number 1 overall pick.
He makes. Brown brings this up a lot. If you're so good at corner, they don't throw your way.
Right.
But for whatever reason, they occasionally throw Travis Hunter's way, and he makes some unbelievable interceptions or plays at the defensive back. Deion made some, too. Auburn fans remember a Sugar Bowl interception. It's just...
But you brought this up. The physicality of Travis Hunter is different.
Yes.
He doesn't mind contact. He takes pride in playing 130 plays. And again, that's why people said, once he gets to the next level, it's going to be really dumbed down for him because he's going to be out there, he's going to be playing one side of the ball. He's going to be playing 50, 60 snaps, and that's it.
I wonder, Dunaway, sometimes if coaches get baited in, like the guy's got to be tired. He's been out on the field the whole game. He's playing all this offense and all this defense. He's got to be tired. Let's throw his way and see.
Maybe he's a step and a half behind, but
see if he's got dead legs. Yeah.
He closes on it so quickly. I
By the way,
love that kid.
He does not have dead legs.
He does not.
Every time they throw at him, he's there.
He does not. Last fact or fiction here in the opening segment. Mississippi State beating Georgia tomorrow.
Fiction.
Would be a bigger shocker than Vandy beating Alabama last week.
1,000%.
Yeah, I think neutral side. I think Vanderbilt probably beats Mississippi State by 10.
By only 10.
Oh, I think it'd be more than 10.
It could be.
Yeah. I don't think State. I mean, State's obviously the
How about
worst
this?
team.
Vanderbilt would be favored by 10.
Okay, favored by 10's fair. Dude, if State beats,
there's no way.
If State beats Georgia,
Van Buren taking it to the Georgia defense. I don't see it.
No shot. Zero shot.
You have to watch out for the Van Buren boys.
Yeah. What
okay. What would
Seinfeld
be more
reference.
What would be more shocking if Alabama loses back-to-back games as 3 touchdown favorites, or Georgia loses to Mississippi State? Kalen DeBoer might as well box everything up if they lose tomorrow.
I mean, find a pro job as quick as you can because you do not want to
Hard
live
to
through
imagine.
this. I would still say the most shocking outcome of those two would be State beating Georgia, Lance.
I don't know.
I know Bama losing 2 straight as 21-point or more favorite is a lot.
Yeah, you can't get back in it if you're Bama.
Oh, gosh,
losses.
no.
Yeah.
No.
Ross, who is a Mississippi State fan, Vandy would take Mississippi State to the woodshed.
Yeah.
End quote.
Yeah, their defense is not good.
State's
defense is not good.
It's not good. And it's a roster
Their
makeover.
offense sucks.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
That's how you become the worst team in the conference.
It is a roster makeover there. All right, Michelson Laser Vision to our first break here. Don't forget football tonight, Utah and Arizona State, 9:30 on ESPN. That Northwestern Maryland game, 7 o'clock on FS1. That's part of your Friday night sports look from Michelson Laser Vision.
Yeah, younger brother Cameron is going to see Dr. Mark Michelson next week. He has scheduled the hassle-free consultation to find out if he is a candidate for LASIK. I told him y'all's story that you guys have both tried to get LASIK and weren't able to. That's the ethical part about what Dr. Mark Michelson and Dr. Jen Michelson do. If you're not a candidate, they're going to let you know. I was a candidate, got the procedure done. I've got 2015 vision, better than 2020. Make the phone call that I made, 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. Call today, ask for Amy, tell her the next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at jimdunaway.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Ryan Brown here for The Next Round. Join me and CBS sports analyst Brandon Marcello for the Middle 8 each Monday at 8 a.m. as we look back at the weekend of college football from the SEC to the top 25 of the college football playoff. It's the Middle 8 presented by MyBookie.ag, code Next Round.
Back with you on the next round. Later on, maybe the 11 o'clock hour, little Tyler's been working on a thesis paper.
Is he in school?
He's not. It was a homework assignment here.
Was it Saturday night? Did you do a review of the movie?
Oh,
well,
did you go see it last night?
That's up on the Meltdown right now.
Okay.
But, Jim gave me some homework at about 8:45 this morning.
That's right. So
give me a letter grade on Saturday night. You don't have to spill
B.
B, okay.
B?
Yeah, very solid.
So the whole review's up right now at the Meltdown.
Yes.
Okay.
You can go to youtube.com/@meltdown247, and it will be on the shorts tab.
Okay, is it just you, or is Melton on it too? Or?
It is me and Spud.
You and Spud. All right. Never saw Spud as a Saturday Night Live guy. But
Oh, he's a big fan of the old SNL sketches.
yeah, back in the 70s, the early days. You were going to ask him something about Saturday night?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wondering how he liked it.
So later on, his thesis on corn dogs versus corny dogs, the difference and why they're separated name-wise, a discussion we had way back in the day on radio. He's going to give us his take on that.
I've never heard of a corny dog.
I haven't either, so I'll be interested to hear this.
It's a big part of the Texas State Fair this weekend, the old corny dog.
I just thought it was the
never
same.
heard of it.
I just thought it was the same thing, and people called it something different. So it's not the same thing.
You are correct, Brown.
Okay.
Well, no need to tease ahead then. There we go. That's the thesis from Tyler right there. Corny dog versus corn dog. StormRestorationRoofing.com. StormRestorationRoofing.com. Family owned here. When the unexpected happens, leave it to the professionals right there at Storm Restoration Roofing. Free quote, free evaluation. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Central Alabama's most trusted name. Storm damage, roof replacements, insurance, roofing claims. They handle it all. Restorations and inspections. In fact, they'll give you that free, no-cost roof inspection right there. That's what we tell you about all the time. 205-542-3531, 542-3531. Greg Nelson, Greg from Pell City, he and his wife Andrea own the company right here. Always good to have that name, that someone you trust when it comes to your roof anytime you need them, especially after the storm. But it's a free inspection on your roof, no cost, no obligation. They are 205-542-3531 with Storm Restoration Roofing. All right, so we get ready for another college football weekend, but big stuff going on off the field. All 34 athletic directors and both commissioners from the Big Ten and the SEC meeting yesterday in Nashville. Wednesday, Thursday meetings wrapped up yesterday. And the big takeaway from Brown from this when they came out is no private equity. None of these other leagues that you hear, $9 billion they can infuse with this private equity firm with these ex-Disney employees. We can handle this. Football's not broken. We've got this, says the two commissioners.
So basically what we said yesterday is they ain't going to give up power. Yeah. I mean, I don't think this is a surprise to anybody. Maybe this will just end these silly storylines now. I'm sure people will keep coming to the table. But if they're not going to take $9 billion, I don't know what you're going to come to the table with. It's going to get their attention.
That's a big number.
It's a big number. But if they're saying no to that, then let's just, I would say if they're saying no to that, then I'll ignore the rest of these stories that I guess are just going to keep, because this is 2 in 2 weeks now, right? We've had Jimmy Haslam, and now we've had ex-Disney employees that have both made this recommendation, and you've already got the SEC and the Big Ten saying, no thanks, guys.
Yeah.
$9 billion, no thank you.
And
so then there's not a number that's going to turn their head if $9 billion ain't going to turn their head.
So the premise that college football is broken, though, do you guys, that's what they're, these other leagues are saying it's broken, we got to fix it, we got to do this. Do you guys think it is broken?
Well, it's not broken because financially the dollars continue to go up. I mean, you just heard that
$9 billion. Yeah.
Now, like the spirit of college football, the college football we once knew, there are broken elements. I mean,
there are, but I mean, no,
there are.
Would you admit, and I was wrong about this, I'm pretty sure Brown was wrong about this, when we initially heard 12-team playoff, our concern was what?
Oh, it started with 14 playoff for me, is that the regular season is going to lose its meaning.
But all of a sudden,
the regular season has been as good as it's ever been.
And it seems like they become bigger games as we go further in the season, games that, for instance, Kansas State, Colorado, we would watch that if you took the Deion Sanders show off of the table here, we'd watch it anyway because it's Deion and it's college football. But even if you just the fact that it's a big Big 12 game that has a playoff implication, that's a bigger game this weekend than it would have been in a normal time of year.
No, I think everything about college football outside of like NIL, outside of the transfer portal, just being held hostage by these athletes. That's the problem that I think a lot of people have right now. Seeing what Malachi Moore did on Saturday, like, I don't care who the coach is. That wouldn't have happened 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's easy to say there are broken elements, and maybe that's the way you would characterize it, but the history of college football, there have always been changes. I mean, people didn't like it when names started showing up in the back of jerseys. That was a me attitude. That wasn't team anymore. Why do you need your name on the back of the jersey? You don't think twice about that now. People don't like the forward pass.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, the forward pass. What are they doing to football?
Different uniforms.
Yeah, I mean, there have always been things that change in college football that people did not like when they changed, and it was going to be the end of the sport. I mean, the sport's I think it's as healthy as it's ever been on a TV product, which is what drives this sport, because that's where you get all your money. And ultimately, people don't want to hear this. You got to do, Lance, whatever it takes to keep it a healthy TV product. That's the only way you keep the sport alive.
That's where the money is.
That's where the money is.
Craig says, we're going to trust Jimmy Haslam, the same guy that gave Deshaun Watson $500 million.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
How's that going for you?
That's not going good.
It's not going good.
Our friends at Hydra Life, they're here. They've got LT hooked up. Tell us what's happening right here, LT.
What is Daniel Jones, our quarterback, what is the bag today?
So it's the Myers cocktail. It's got magnesium, calcium, B complex, vitamin B, vitamin C to help your immune system, give you those vitamins you need.
So I don't even have to eat today, right? I just eat a bag. I'm kidding.
Probably the next 6 to 8 hours wouldn't hurt.
No, but I mean, hydrated, energy. I mean, we are about to hit the cold and flu season.
Yes, sir. We're right about to get in the thick of it. Vitamin C helps with your immune system, and threw some Zofran in for you too.
Zofran for nausea. Yeah. IV therapy, B12 injections, which Taylor's about to get. Tyler's about to get a bag. Compression therapy, cryotherapy, now weight loss therapy, all under one roof. 2 locations in Birmingham, 1 in Tuscaloosa. Very important. Mention next round. You're going to get 20% off all the great services. They're open 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can book an appointment online, hydralifetherapy.com. If you can't make it to one of those locations, my man Daniel can come see you.
Yes, sir.
Good job on the Guardians yesterday. We needed that.
Yeah, got the Guardians hat on there.
You kept playing them, Lance.
I did.
Just keep playing them. They'll hit at some point.
All right, time now for the Buffalo Wild Wings Pick 3. Start us off with the Rockstar song there, Tyler.
Pick three, it's time for the pick three. 3 for you and 3 for me, that equals a pick 3. Say goodbye to your family, it's time for the pick 3. Only time that I'm happy is when it's time for pick 3.
And it's brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, stop into one of those great locations of Buffalo Wild Wings all weekend long. They are Birmingham's best sports bar for the last 20 years. Again, wall-to-wall TVs, great sauces, incredible sandwiches. Stop in not only for college football all day, but also NFL Sunday Ticket as well.
So we'll start. We talked a lot about Ohio State, Oregon. Let's go to the Red River shootout there, where Oklahoma has won 11 of the last 15. This feels like there's a blowout waiting for some reason. Talk me off the blowout ledge.
Well, 2 years ago, it was a blowout. It was so bad, it was the worst margin of victory in the history of that rivalry. And then last year, you had the upset. So, people are wondering, what are you going to get here? I kind of agree with you. It feels like a blowout based on the fact that I don't know how Oklahoma manufactures offense against Texas. And with Quinn Ewers coming back, he has so many weapons out there. It could ultimately be the best team in college football.
Could be. I mean, they're number one right now. Number one has not going well the last 2 weeks, so you wonder if that trend continues. There have been, I guess any rivalry has blowouts in it, but blowouts have not been uncommon of late in this rivalry. 49-0 just 2 years ago, Texas demolished Oklahoma. So, you've seen it recently, but that 34-30 win by Oklahoma last year is hard to get out of your mind. 7 of the last 10 in this series, including a Big 12 championship game for Oklahoma, is hard to get out of your mind here. Oklahoma has owned this thing of late. It's hard to forget that.
11 of 15, but it feels like they'll be on the wrong side of this one tomorrow.
It's pretty crazy. So Texas has won their first 5 games by 15-plus points. They have yet to trail this season. There's only 2 other teams that have yet to trail.
Texas is yet to trail, and
only 2 others right now in the FBS.
Did Penn State trail to West Virginia?
Penn State has trailed.
Okay. Then I don't know who the other one is.
They trailed to Illinois, too.
Yeah. I guess Ohio State?
It was, or is right now, Army. And Indiana.
Coach Sig back in the show.
Indiana's schedule has not been good through 6.
It doesn't matter, though. If you haven't trailed through 6 games, that's pretty impressive.
I agree with Lance on that.
Tyler, if you will, give me cut number 5. Brent Venables. This is a question I find always interesting, and I think it's absolutely true. We'll see. I don't know how Brent answers this, but when Alabama has success, I think it puts pressure on the Auburn coach. When Auburn has success, there's pressure on the Alabama coach. So is there more pressure on his job in Norman for Brent Venables because of the success Sark is having in Austin, Texas? Here's Brent.
Texas, like most people, have had its ups and downs over the years. How much more difficult is your job when they're riding high, like they have the last couple of years?
I don't. I that's not a measuring stick for myself or for this program. Their success doesn't have anything to do with ours, and their lack of success doesn't have anything to do with ours. So we focus on us, the things that we can control. We compete on the field, once a season, and it's a big game, always is. But they're all big. Lose one of those other ones, and they all big, and but we don't measure our program to their program in any way, shape, or form.
Fair statement, but in reality.
In reality, here's the problem. Like if Texas wins a national championship this year, Oklahoma fans are going to be like, damn, they've won 2 since we've won 1. They've played for 3 since we've won 1. So, yeah, I think the reality is it's what happens. For Alabama to lose this past weekend to Vanderbilt, best thing that happened to Hugh Freeze, best thing that happened to Trent Dilfer, best thing that happened to Lane Kiffin.
That's in a job security sense, but do you honestly think it affects Oklahoma's ability to be good when Texas is good, though? Or Auburn's or Alabama's when the other one is good?
No, I mean,
it shouldn't.
We've seen Michigan and Ohio State recently 11-0, 11-0.
That's right. I mean, there's nothing you can say that your rival being good makes it more difficult for you to be good. Why would that be the case?
It's not. I mean, 2013 Alabama and Auburn, you can make a case that Alabama and Auburn were two of the best 3 teams in the country.
Yeah, both of those teams would have been in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
In fact, when I think a lot of times it keeps your program good, because when the other program's good, you are much quicker to make changes if yours slips a little bit.
Yeah, easy to get money from the boosters, man. Hey, look what they're doing across the state or across the river there. We got to keep up with them, man. We got to come on, man, donate.
Now, in terms of job security, there's zero doubt. Brent Venables' job security is affected by how good Texas is. There's no doubt about that. But it really shouldn't affect the success level of your program.
Yeah, I agree. That's Texas and Oklahoma. More of the Buffalo Wild Wings Pick 3 you can play right now. NextRoundLive.com. NextRoundLive.com. Hats off to LT. He's giving Ole Miss and LSU the respect it deserves. You go to this game tomorrow night in Death Valley for Ole Miss. They just really haven't had a ton of success as the favorite in that place.
Well, I'll tell you, at home after a bye, and that's what Brian Kelly's coming. So they faced FCS by... Or not FCS, it was South Alabama. So
hey, now.
Group of 5.
Yeah.
Then a bye. So Brian Kelly's 15-2 straight up and 12-5 against the number at home after a bye. So he's been good in these spots. Now, they're well rested. Are they as good as Ole Miss? I don't know. I still don't know a lot about either one of these teams.
Yeah, schedule was part of the discussion yesterday, and we'll talk to Todd Fuhrman about this game coming up at the top of the hour. Brownie, Ole Miss is on a grind right now. And LSU is the schedule, LT just pointed out on the schedule, a little more rested probably of a football team for the Tigers.
Probably so. But based on what Lance said, they were able to rest late in that South Alabama game and then get a bye week. I just think the pressure on these coaches is the massive storyline here. And the fact that Ole Miss has not won in this stadium, as you mentioned, since 2008. I mean, they do not play well at Tiger Stadium.
Yeah, and I wonder, I think one of the great matchups is going to be this defensive front for Ole Miss against the offensive line for LSU. Because coming into the season, people said this might be the best offensive line in all of college football. They've only given up 2 sacks the entire year. I think more of a challenge here. You look at Lane Kiffin, his history in Baton Rouge, he's 0-2 straight up. He's 0-2 against the number. He's lost these games by an average of 15 points per game. I lean LSU. I don't love them, though.
What was always a guarantee when CBS had this game? Always a guarantee when
they
CBS
would show you Billy Cannon.
Do you think ABC will do that now that ABC has this game? 6:30 Saturday night. I think I saw that Joe Tess is on this game. Is Joe Tess going to set it up?
Oh, yeah. Who'll ever forget Billy Cannon's run?
Cannon, Jesse.
Yeah, the stat to watch in this game, and right now Ole Miss has a problem with this. When you know they're passing on third down situations and they've got to throw the football. Last week against South Carolina, they were 3 of 13 on third down. You go back against Kentucky, problems on third downs in that loss. They are struggling on third down plays.
What grade would you give Jackson Dart? We gave midterm grades. What grade would you give Jackson Dart on the
Flat
season?
C right now.
A C? He's leading the conference in passing.
Flat C for me right now.
Probably would go a B.
Dunaway, hang on. I got to go back to Dunaway here.
Stats, man. He did nothing against Kentucky. Did nothing, and they lost the football game. That's a C. They're supposed to be unbeaten right now.
I mean, he had 261 pass yards and a touchdown against Kentucky.
I thought he was decent. I thought it was more. I mean, we wouldn't even be talking about this if it wasn't, the 4th and 6 where they went up top and just a beautiful throw from Vandegrift.
I mean, I'm going to see where he is nationally. I know you're just discounting stats.
I think it would be a B.
He's third nationally in passing. I think he's got the second most.
Brandon, you asked me my grade. He's a C. They're supposed to be unbeaten right now. He's the leader of the team. That offense has not been what they're supposed to be. Those stats coming against who'd they play those first few games? They played Kentucky and South Carolina, and what they scored last week, 27. What they score, 17 against Kentucky. That's Kentucky and South Carolina. In the SEC. Everyone else has been bull crap on their schedule. They've been nobody.
So I assume Carson Beck's even worse because of what he did against Kentucky.
I mean, Carson Beck at least has the Clemson game to lean on.
Well, he's got the Alabama second half, too. Yeah. But, I mean, he was horrible against Kentucky.
But
he was worse than Jackson Dart.
And he had 3 picks against Bama.
He was horrible against Alabama the first half. Cost him the game in the first half.
I'm just saying, Jackson Dart's second most pass yards in the country for a coach that generally runs the ball more than he throws. Dart, numbers-wise.
Just remind everybody who they beat in the first three or four games.
Okay, give me a second.
Yeah, because you're gonna get a lot of bad in those first 3 games.
All right, so they beat Ferman 76-0.
Yeah.
They beat Middle Tennessee 52-3.
Yeah. You get some stats in those games?
They won at Wake. He did. They won at Wake 40-6.
Yep.
They beat EG's Georgia Southern squad 52-13. Gata. Georgia Southern got their ass out of there.
And then they lost.
They lost to Kentucky 20-17, beat South Carolina on the road 27-3.
Yeah, so when you played somebody breathing, you've scored 17 and 27. I don't think he's playing great football right now.
And I got to give him credit, though. Like, the numbers weren't bad against Kentucky. Kentucky's only allowing 13.4 points per game. This Kentucky defense is good, and I think that's going to be the difference.
It's good and tested, too.
Yeah.
They're not just good against
Diego
crowd.
Pavia, look, this has been a great story. I just don't see Vanderbilt coming into Lexington and winning that game.
I mean, Kentucky, to your point, has played Georgia and Ole Miss and shut them down. Maybe we ought to just start respecting Kentucky's defense a little bit more.
Maybe we should. Penn State USC thoughts on the Buffalo Wild Wings pick 3 after I remind you that Daniel Moore Art has a new tribute to Coach Nick Saban ready to roll. It's the legend piece from danielmoreart.com, danielmoreart.com. 6 national championship seasons in Tuscaloosa, and Daniel Moore wants to remember that. You can pre-order right now by going to danielmoreart.com, danielmoreart.com. The 2025 calendar is available as well with the coupon code TNR. TNR, you get 20% off there. But to get that legend, sign up. Great holiday gift, Christmas gift coming up. Jump on there, get the calendar as well. Great stocking stuffer, all at danielmoreart.com. Penn State USC, another huge game in our Buffalo Wild Wing pick 3 if you want to play that one. For Penn State, they go to this game out in the West Coast in the Coliseum. It'll have a little Rose Bowl vibe to it because of the California sun and these matchups that you don't see a lot of. So far, these new Big Ten matchups, we finally get the one we've been waiting on, Oregon and Ohio State. What have you thought about, these others?
Look, the 2 games against, Washington, Michigan was a fun game. Yep. I go back, Michigan and USC was obviously a fun game. I'm looking forward to this game. This is the first time of the regular season Penn State has traveled out of the Eastern time zone in 15 years. And maybe that was it 15 years ago when they played Bama in Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, that was 2010. Yeah, I think it was 2010. So there you go.
AJ, did they go up there first? They come back here?
2011 was the game there. I think 2010 was the first game, and that's when they Coach Paterno, Joe Paterno was still coaching, and they brought Bobby Bowden back. You remember him, Paterno and Bowden?
Yeah, that's the last time they have traveled outside of the Eastern time zone in the regular season. Wow. Now they're going all the way out west, where, again, Franklin 14-4 against the number in his last 18 games. They're converting 53% of their third downs. They've only turned the football over 3 times. If they play clean football with their ability with Allen and Singleton to run the football, for whatever reason, this USC defense looked really good against LSU and Utah State. But after that bye, they've regressed. And I think Penn State could have a big day on the ground.
I'm assuming if you give Jackson Dart a C, you give Drew Aller a D or an F. He hasn't played bad, Jim, but 9 touchdowns and a pick, but it's just not the Drew Aller I thought we were going to get. I don't know why I thought that, because you get a lot of yucky quarterback play out of James Franklin. But I thought Aller would be better than this.
No, I think he's better than he was last year. He's a C for me right now. They're unbeaten.
He's middle tier. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Hey, there is one team in the FBS that has started 5-0. Or started 4-0 over the last 5 seasons.
Is it Penn State?
It's Penn State.
It's Penn State.
Yeah, and there's nothing to show for it.
Buffalo Wild Wings pick 3 continues. Just so if you're new to us, Hydra Life is here, and that was a quick bag.
Boy,
that
thing went in a hurry.
That's the fastest one you've ever done.
Yeah, that really was.
Did you spill that on the floor?
Special thanks there to my man, the quarterback Daniel Jones. Hydra Life Therapy, IV Therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, all under one roof. They can actually come to you, hydrolifetherapy.com. Mention next round, 20% off all the great services.
Yeah, that was the quickest bag. There have been times you've gone two segments.
Oh, yeah.
With that. That was 20 minutes getting a full bag there from our friends at Hydra Life. Football happening tonight. Todd Fuhrman coming up at the top of the hour. One more thing to get to in this segment. But remember, Hemp Hill Services, as the weather changes, you want to get that heat checked out. Maybe you've turned it on already, 49 to low. Maybe you haven't. But you will soon, and you want to get it checked. And they also bring you Lance's Lock, lanceslock.com.
Yeah, 205-229 2090. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. If you have any in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. Hard to stop a train. HempHillServices.com. Somebody did bring up that Penn State did play at Auburn. They had the home and home. So maybe it's outside of the Eastern or Central time zone.
Oh, it could be, yeah.
Last time since they've gone west or something.
Yeah.
All right, Ferman at the top of the hour. Last night in the National Football League, 49ers win 36-24. Where Brock looked really good there. 18 of 28, 255, 3 touchdowns. Looked good because they got the win. San Francisco all of a sudden, 3-3. And I know in college football, 3-3 seems blah, but 3-3, top of your division, tied now. Maybe San Francisco has survived all these injuries. Maybe they'll start to get healthy again. Still no sign of when we're going to get McCaffrey.
Yeah, and seeing that could ultimately be a problem. This San Francisco team's still really, really good. Geno Smith was bad last night. I had a conversation with a buddy at lunch yesterday. I was like, I don't know. I think Seattle's good. And he's like, you just can't trust Geno Smith. And, a late behind throw that ultimately led to another San Francisco touchdown when Seattle had ball in hand with 7 minutes to go to possibly win that game. But San Francisco's got Seattle's number, and when San Francisco gets whole, they're going to be really good. And you got to start to give Brock Purdy some credit. I don't know how much you guys watch, but he made some really, really good, tough throws last night.
That one on the pylon to Kittle.
Kittle's footwork, too.
That was just a beautiful play.
Yeah.
They
I think it was third down, too.
And they hired a defensive coach, Seattle did, and their defense has not been good.
Oh, I know.
They've only given up 20 or more every game except against Miami when they were at home facing a backup quarterback and a third-team quarterback after the backup got knocked out. That's the only game they've given up less than 20. And the last 3, Lance, 42, 29, and 36 in losses. That defense has been awful.
Fun weekend in the NFL coming up. LT, tell us about Dr. B. We'll go to Vegas and talk to Ferman on the other side.
Yeah, Dr. B, if you're starting to thin out, this is the guy you need to call. He's been doing it for more than 20 years right here in Birmingham. So, look, if you're starting to thin out, somebody that's thinning out, give them a heads up. Happened to me since I went to see Dr. B years ago. My hair has more than doubled in thickness. All I do is that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. 205-319-0316. Again, for more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. B for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training, and genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B and that staff today. Schedule the consultation. Tell them the next round sent you. 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trussville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, it's where everybody needs a little playing time.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1, find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2, stream it now. Miss Hour 3, download it for later. Miss Hour 4, well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Todd Fuhrman standing by in Las Vegas. This part of the show being brought to you by our friends at Odie's, a little neighborhood bar where you get great food as well.
Yeah, great place to go. Live music tonight and tomorrow night. Great food from Rodney Davis for the last 35 years. Wings, burgers, great sandwiches like the Diablo sandwich. Ice cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Fantastic patio as well. Stop in, see Will Haver and all those fine folks. 2 locations, the original Crestline, newest location, Edgewood. It's Odie's Tavern.
BetTheBoardPodcast.com is where you find all of his games. He is Todd Fuhrman. He joins us every Friday on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline, very close to 10 o'clock for this visit. So you give Dunaway grief when he's late, Ferman. I expect you to show up and say, Jim, thank you for being on time.
You know, I'm not on camera right now, but I'm actually getting up in my office giving Dunaway a standing ovation.
Wow.
It may be the nicest thing I can do for Dunaway since football season started after that blasphemous grading scale that he put out, giving Vanderbilt a B after the college football program, much maligned in the SEC, gets arguably the biggest win in its program's illustrious history.
Well, I mean, if you make an A on one test, but you fail another test, do you end up with a B grade or an A grade like you want to give them? I mean, they lost to Georgia State. Don't you have to factor that in, Ferman?
They did lose to Georgia State, but they got A's in their other games. You lose in overtime against Missouri. You beat Virginia Tech outright as a 2-touchdown home underdog, and you beat Alabama as a 3-touchdown plus home underdog. And here you are doling out A's for a Texas team that looked to be a little bit anemic offensively again's Mississippi State. They've beaten up on the sisters of the
everything
poor.
they've had to do, and they haven't had their starting quarterback. That's an A. B is all you can go for Vandy.
This is just how it works. I mean, Texas came in as an honor student, but they're getting A's on remedial math tests. I'm not giving them an A for the semester.
You do what every media person does. When somebody beats Alabama, you prop them up more than they really are. They're simply a B. It was a great win, but it's still Vandy. It's a B. You can play the game and pump them up to try to make Alabama look good if you want to, but that's not the case.
Don't tell that to Alabama fans who came after me after I said the team was fine offensively, had questions on defense, and have been eerily quiet since that defensive performance.
I don't think they have to say anything.
Okay, Ferman, I got to ask you about this game because I really wanted to unload, and I said this earlier on the show. If I could have gotten Kansas State in the offseason only minus 3.5 in Boulder, I would have pounced on this. What my fear is it looks like this number's trickling down a little bit. Are we getting some sharp money on the Colorado Buffaloes?
We have seen sharp money on Colorado. There was kind of a buy offer out there at 4 or better. As we get into 3.5, you'll start to see the public kind of latch on to Colorado. And what's interesting about this game, I know you shy away from a lot of those early kickoffs, LT. This is going to be the get-out game. Late at night, not in Boise, Hawaii, which will be the true late-night game. And I think you're going to find the general public gravitating towards Colorado, backing them on the money line in this spot. Because the last time we saw Kansas State playing on the road in conference in hostile territory, they got blown out by BYU. But as we know, you dig into that box score, they were significantly better than the final score indicated. My biggest fear, and why I haven't gotten there yet with Kansas State, but I would reconsider the position if it got down to a flat 3, if Kansas State has to play from behind, do they have enough in their passing attack to be able to match the Buffs score for score? So I think it's imperative that Avery Johnson and company come out with a fast start, and they're able to continue to run the football with him and DJ Giddens, because they just don't have the kind of aerial assault that can get them back in the game if they need to chase Colorado.
Texas and Oklahoma play for the first time as an SEC game in the Red River Shootout. Oklahoma has owned this of late, 7 of the last 10, 11 of the last 15. We were all just talking about it, though. It feels like Texas is a 14-point favorite for a reason, Ferman. It feels very difficult to find an Oklahoma path to victory here.
You know, Texas favored by double digits over Oklahoma for the first time since 2005. And why is that year important? It's the last time that Texas won a national championship with Vince Young. And when we look at the dynamic in this rivalry, Texas will be favored for the 3rd straight year against Oklahoma. The previous 13 was all about Oklahoma being installed as a favorite. So you've seen a little bit of the role reversal and some of the things we talked about in the preseason, that Texas was probably much more apt and ready and equipped to make the transition to SEC football than Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's only path to victory and pulling off the upset here is just muddying up the waters, leading into Michael Hawkins, trying to play keep away. You'll see a little bit of some trickeration, I would have to imagine, to catch that Texas defense sleeping. The one concern I do have with the Horns, and I'm not sure it's going to show up on Saturday in Dallas, Texas has not been tested by an offense that can throw the forward pass. Fortunately for the Longhorns, Oklahoma wouldn't fall into that classification either. We have seen some under money come in, and I think that makes a ton of sense because that's the only correlation you find, Oklahoma being a live underdog and Texas being, able to try and keep them at bay. So for me, I can see the under, haven't gotten there myself, and the only way that I would make even the slightest case to back Oklahoma would be in the first half plus the 7, because if they're playing from behind, there is no path for them to try and erase margin, knowing how limited they are in the passing attack.
Yeah, 5 of the receivers out again like they were against Auburn. That's trouble. Jackson Dart didn't throw a single touchdown pass last week against South Carolina. Here they come, South Carolina, to play Alabama. Obviously, Gamecocks struggled to score points. They had 3 last week. How do you judge Alabama hosting this South Carolina team?
Big number for the Crimson Tide delay, and we know Alabama bouncing back off of losses, and that storyline that'll be front and center in this particular matchup. But can Alabama do enough defensively to try and go out there and win by margin against a team that's going to want to try and establish the ground game and is a little bit more dynamic offensively than what they showed last week against Ole Miss? In my opinion, that had a lot more to do with the Ole Miss defense and how it's probably more underrated as a unit because the offense garners so many headlines. It was only a few weeks ago that we saw South Carolina go up and down the field on an LSU defense that's probably a better comp for what they're going to see against Alabama. This number is leaked up a touch from that 3-touchdown threshold, seeing 21.5 kind of painted across the board this morning. But I think over makes some sense in this game because I do believe Alabama will be able to move the football. We know that South Carolina defensive line is probably the best unit that the Gamecocks have, but their secondary will struggle against Bama. So as the total sits at 50, can see making a case for going over. And if I had to get involved with the side, especially at 3 touchdowns plus, we'll lean towards South Carolina with the early kickoff in Tuscaloosa.
Kyle Whittingham listing Cam Rising as questionable has become kind of a running joke, but Brett McMurphy did today, Ferman, report that Cam Rising will get the start tonight in the desert. I haven't seen the number move at all, and I would think that this thing would tick up with Isaac Wilson not starting and Cam Rising starting.
Yeah, I've talked to my friends close to the Utah program that have had pretty good intel on Cam Rising's availability, and this is the first time in a little over a season and a half. They said, we actually think Rising might have a chance to be out there under center today, but even they're not convinced that it's 100% going to be Cam Rising taking all the reps. You mentioned the number, and you had a couple of influential betting groups come in on Arizona State early in the week, taking this number from 6.5 at the peak as low as 4. We saw that news come across from Brett McMurphy yesterday. Number got back to 6, but we're now down to 5.5, so still another wave of support for Arizona State. What is interesting is the total finally leaked up when that news broke yesterday from that 44.5 range to 45. 47, kind of the prevailing price tag now. And when we look at this game for Arizona State, there is no doubt that the Sun Devils have had this game circled given what unfolded last year when they had not even the puncher's chance, losing 55-3 to Utah at Rice-Eccles. They had a makeshift offensive line. They ran Wildcat the whole game. I can see the Sun Devils taking a little bit of money with that ground attack, and I think if you like them, wait this thing out till kickoff. If Cam Rising is out there for practice and warm-ups, you may have a chance to get 6, if not better, with lean Sun Devils and under with that talented ground game led by Cam Scattaboo.
Todd Fuhrman, bettheboardpodcast.com, bettheboardpodcast.com, at Todd Fuhrman on social media. Ohio State is at Oregon. This has dropped just ever so slightly throughout the week, I believe, Fuhrman, but it's at -3 right now. Listen, I mean, Dylan Gabriel has been not a turnover machine, but a bad turnover machine, if that makes sense. His interceptions come at the worst possible times.
And that's the whole thing, that when you bring in a transfer quarterback that has the level of veteran experience, you expect Gabriel to raise his level of play in a game of this magnitude. When we look at Oregon offensively, to your point, Brownie, they've struggled in terms of looking like a fluid group we grew accustomed to last year with Bo Nix at the controls. They were clunky on Friday night against Michigan State. They weren't much better or more dynamic against UCLA. And while I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they've purposefully been vanilla against some of the inferior opponents in the conference, I mean, this was an Oregon team who still couldn't really get on track against the Boise State defense, way back in week 2. That leaves a little bit to be desired as well. Oregon defensively is the bigger question mark for me here. They've played one offense with a pulse, and we saw what Ashton Genty did. You can only imagine that Travian Henderson and Quinshon Judkins are going to be able to push this defense as well. Will Howard, though, a little bit of a limiting force, in my opinion, for the Scarlet and Gray, but they are better at the skill positions. I'm surprised to see Oregon take as much money as they have, from 4, where they opened as a underdog, now sitting at 3 kind of across the board. I do agree with the move towards the over, though. I think both of these offenses can have some success, even with the accolades and all the positivity around Ohio State defensively. And I'll ask you guys one question. The more I dug into this game and you look at the marquee matchup of 2 versus 3, I don't even feel like this is the most important game on the slate from a college football playoff implication standpoint, because I think both these teams will be in the discussion inside the top 12. I feel like the Magnolia Bowl we talked about with LSU and Ole Miss, much more of an elimination game when you look at the schedules those two teams will play in the SEC going forward.
We had that exact discussion yesterday, Dunaway.
Yeah, it is a rested LSU team. With the way they look coming home. Well, what's not clicking right now against quality opponents for Ole Miss's offense? I saw they were like 3 of 13 against South Carolina on third down. Is that a glaring stat for you?
You guys know I love to kind of get in the cross some of these SEC fan bases, and I haven't taken shots at Ole Miss, so this gives us the perfect opportunity to try and do so. I said before the year that if Ole Miss was going to achieve all of these lofty aspirations and expectations they had, that we needed to see Jackson Dart develop as a true bona fide franchise quarterback. Guess what? I haven't seen it so far this season, and we can look at the gaudy numbers he put forth against inferior opposition. I just watched Louisiana Tech last night score 40-plus on Middle Tennessee State, so that's not a data point that I think Ole Miss should leave them brimming with confidence. The key for Ole Miss offensively is getting the ground game going so it takes some of the pressure off of Dart. I think this is a game where his legs become a bigger X factor than anything else. The Trey Harris storyline has been interesting to follow. Folks I've talked to close to the Ole Miss program say Lane is just being Lane, trying to drum up the fact that, he's a lot more doubtful than he really is. But you can't dispute the fact he didn't finish the game against the Gamecocks, and Ole Miss threw one pass in the fourth quarter as they just kind of tried to bleed the clock. LSU defensively, a lot of questions they have to answer, but the emergence of Caden Durham offensively, the true freshman running back, gives them a little bit more balance. And I think the matchup to watch will be that Ole Miss defensive line against that talented LSU front. What's interesting about this game, people remember last year in the track meet we saw, I think under makes an awful lot of sense here when you look at how Ole Miss has played this season. And Brian Kelly pretty much came out and said, our goal is to play keep away. We don't want to turn this into a track meet. So I think we're talking about the first team to 31 that wins this game. I like it under more so than getting involved with either side.
6:30 ABC for that game tomorrow night. Is it true? I got old eyes, right? I blurry vision here. Lincoln Riley's lost 7 of his last 12 games. Is that a real stat? Can they pull an upset against Penn State?
That is indeed correct. When you look at the last 12-game sample size for the Trojans, has not been great. And if you take away that last-minute heroics against LSU, we're talking about a USC team that comes into this game with 2 wins on their resume against Utah State and Wisconsin. But don't tell that to Lincoln Riley, because he claims 2 plays the other way, and they could be 5-0. The problem for the Trojans has been their inability to get off the field when it comes to getting key stops against opposing ground games. You look at SC and how the adjustment to the Big Ten has gone. This team ranks outside the top 80 in run defense, giving up nearly 160 yards per game. And last week, we knew Minnesota was going to run the ball in inclement weather. So what do the Gophers do on their final drive? Run the ball on 10 out of 12 plays, and USC could not stop them to save their life. It was history repeating itself after Michigan did the same thing to them. But you look at the number here, and we've seen teams traveling across 2 time zones so far this year in the Big Ten. They've gone just 1-8 straight up. So we'll see if Penn State can kind of buck that trend in this spot. For me, I'd want to get in and out if I was looking to back USC, because I think that defensive line could be a concern in the second half. Problem being is some of the threes that were widely available early in the week have shrunk to 2.5. So for me, going to watch this game and actually think there's a path for these teams that both have offensive success. I do expect Nicholas Singleton to be out there, though, for Penn State. They really missed their home run threat in the backfield last week in their win against UCLA.
All right, Ferman, before you go, people are sending us this FanDuel point spread for Alabama-Tennessee, 2.5. Alabama a favorite on the road against Tennessee of 2.5. I ask you, does that measure up to where you would have it? And while we're at it, can you give us a Georgia-Texas, too, look ahead?
Yeah, Georgia, Texas, my numbers for that game, I make Texas 1.5. I think the market could come a little bit stronger than that. But the angle that I'm going to most likely look to take in that game will be trying to go over the total, as I think Texas is going to have success moving through the air. And I mentioned this Texas defense that's going to have questions that won't be answered on Saturday that I don't think any team on their schedule has been able to exploit until they'll see Georgia in Austin next week. As far as the Alabama-Tennessee game, look, we'll see exactly what we get from these 2 teams in bounce-back spots. If Tennessee goes out there and looks dominant offensively, then people can kind of erase the lasting image they have of Nico stepping out of bounds inexplicably in the final seconds against Arkansas. But look, Tennessee not playing with the same pace and tempo that we've grown accustomed to, so I do think they get back to some of their basics this week. My true number on the game, if I account for home field advantage, is a little bit shorter than that. It's only Alabama -1, but I would be more than happy, again, to make a case to go over the total if Tennessee's offense looks capable. But while I don't think it'll be the track meet we saw a couple of years ago, no reason for me to believe Tennessee and Alabama wouldn't at least each get to 30-plus in that contest and maybe even need 40 to get out of Neyland with a win.
Wow. All right, before you go, Keith asks you each week, and he's keeping up with it. He says your off-the-radar is 3-0 for him right now. So where's your off-the-radar game of the week this week?
We do a little dumpster diving all the time, and, I'm going to go right back to the well we went to last week and back to Nevada Wolfpack for the second week in a row. We'll take them plus 3.5 against Oregon State. And when we look at Nevada, this was a team that was a little bit unfortunate. Probably should have had the outright win last week against San Jose State. But this is more a play against an Oregon State team that defensively has a lot of questions they have to answer. Good chance the Beavers will be down one of their leading backs in Jam Griffin. A sandwich spot of sorts after a double overtime win against Colorado State before they'll take on UNLV. We'll take Nevada plus the field goal plus. I don't think we'll need the points this week, though. The Wolfpack complete the job and win the game outright.
All right, there you go. Ferman does it for you each week. Todd Fuhrman. Get all the games. BetTheBoardPodcast.com. BetTheBoardPodcast.com. Have a great weekend, Ferman. Thank you.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen.
All right, buddy. Take care. Ferman with us on the it was a little sigh there at the end. Like
a little bit.
Catching his breath.
JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
Arizona State hosting Utah tonight in a fun game. Feels like Arizona State can win this game outright tonight, even with Cam Rising playing. So we got a lot of fun sports. We'll get to our pick 3. Friday games don't count. Can't use those. We'll do ours at the end of the show. You can play right now, nextroundlive.com. Before we get to 4 downs, let me remind you, our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama want to help you find a urologist in your life so that you can stay on top of your health, so no problems arise down the road. UCA has 35 urologists in 16 locations. Surely one of those locations is near you. All you have to do to find that location is to call 205-930-0920, 930-0920, or visit urologycentersalabama.com. Treating all your urological needs from prostate health to kidney stones. They'll do it all for you. urologycentersalabama.com. You said Cam Rising playing, not impacting that number. at all tonight, and I know it's under a touchdown. That could end up being a fun game, and it's just hard to imagine what Whittingham has done as a coach. That what could be his last year, because they've named a coach in waiting,
Morgan Scally,
on his coaching staff. With Cam Rising back again, I never thought he would lose 2, 3, 4 games possibly in his final year. He's been so consistent. But that could be where this is starting to trend if they drop this one outright tonight.
Yeah, well, look, they've got the one loss. And, if Cam Rising's playing, do they have a loss? I don't know. I think Cam Rising is that big of a difference maker. Isaac Wilson's been okay. This is a difficult game with Isaac Wilson. I think if Cam Rising plays, if he doesn't have any rust, I think Utah's going to be fine. You heard, Ferman just say they beat them 55-3 in Rice Eccles last year.
He hasn't thrown a pass in a month, so not having rust would be a little surprising.
Yeah.
What do you think? The 7th of August was the last, or excuse me, the 7th of September. 7th of August would be something. 7th of September was the last time he threw a pass. So it's been more than a month since he's thrown a pass in a game. So I do anticipate a little rust.
Yeah, we'll see that one tonight. Can't wait for that one. And it's a late night, so you can get a little dinner if you're one of those people who like to go out to eat on a Friday night. 9:30 ESPN for Utah and Arizona State. All right, time for our Slice 4 Down. Speaking of dinner, great place to go, LT.
Yes, head into one of the 5 locations of Slice, the original Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, newest location right there in Edgewood. Local pizza, local ingredients. Going to see the Bajaya brothers, created by the late Jeff Bajaya. His legacy continues to be celebrated by his brothers, Jason and Chris. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Better chance of an upset in the SEC, Oklahoma over Texas or Florida over Tennessee?
Oklahoma, there's just something about what they've done in that series. I guess I would be less surprised, though, with Florida beating Tennessee. Neither one of them I think are going to happen, Lance, but
I'm going to say, to me, more likely to happen is Florida over Tennessee. Tennessee, they beat a bad NC State team. They beat an Oklahoma team. We're waiting to see if they're bad or not, 25-15, and they lost to Arkansas. Now, both of those were on the road, and they're home to Florida, who has just been a bag of mostly nothing. But
Florida has owned Tennessee. I would agree with you. I think, and I know Oklahoma's gotten the better of Texas, but I think we know more about Texas than we know about Tennessee.
Yeah, and I'm the one that maybe landmined them after they beat Oklahoma. I said this. Best team in the country, and they have not been.
They've been bad since then.
And say what you will, Mertz and Lagway, the alternating possessions, looked a little bit better last week. They're finding their rhythm offensively down at Florida. I'll agree with Brown. I don't think either happens.
Yeah.
But I'll be less surprised Florida beats Tennessee than Oklahoma beating Texas.
Teams have scored points on Florida, and that's alarming to me if I'm a Florida fan here. But, after that Oklahoma game, we're like, oh, boy, they slowed Tennessee's offense down. But, Tennessee didn't have to do a lot in that game to win it. But now it's a trend. Now you've seen 2 straight games where their offense has struggled at times.
And Nico missed. Now, this is the good part is they were wide open wide receivers, so the play was working.
Yeah. But he missed them.
Not to sound like Hugh Freeze, but the play was there, and Nico just made a bad throw. So the scheme worked. Wide open receiver. Nico just didn't connect on those throws. That can be easily fixed.
Hey, listen, go back. I would encourage everyone to go back to Monday's Middle 8. Brandon Marcello was at the game, Tennessee-Arkansas, and he talked to Travis Williams, the Tennessee defensive coordinator, after the game, who's done a tremendous job this year, by the way. And he says, what happened? He goes, it's a funny story. He said, I can't remember the game he looked at, but there was a particular defense that gave Tennessee fits. And he goes, I just said we were going to play that defense. And he goes, I went to my team and I told them, this is the defense we're going with this week, and I'm going to teach you 4 plays in this defense. That's all we got time to install. And he's like, that defense got so fired up that they had a plan like that. And he said they literally installed 4 plays. He goes, I don't know how much we're going to get to use it because we only got 4 plays in it, but I'm going to use it as much as I can.
Well, that's a shot at Heupel, isn't it?
It is a huge shot at Heupel, but hey, the proof's in the pudding, right? Wow. It worked. It 100% worked.
It worked.
Yeah. So, you don't know.
I guarantee T. Will, since he said that,
His phone's been blowing up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hey,
Florida running those 4-2.
Hey, I've never talked to you before. I've heard about you.
I mean, it's so yeah, Lance. I mean, but my point was going to be: is there some film out on Heupel right now that teams can start to take advantage of?
Yeah.
Second down.
Undefeated team with a better chance of going down this weekend: Pittsburgh to California or BYU to Arizona.
I think BYU to Arizona is more likely to be the loss there. Not that I don't respect Cal, but you've talked about this several weeks now. At some point, they got to get tired of eating those 6 peanuts out of the bag and that little trail mix. And can I have the whole Diet Coke, or are you just going to pour me that little plastic cup of Diet Coke?
Yeah, they're grinding. I don't know how good Pitt is. I mean, it's been a nice story with Narduzzi. I actually think both Cal and Arizona win.
Yeah, so both of those undefeated teams go down.
I mean, Cal has already played in Tallahassee, Auburn, and now Pittsburgh. It is crazy to think about how much they are traveling.
And Berkeley.
Yeah. Berkeley.
Yeah, that's the problem. If they just come over here and stay.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is a lot of travel, and at some point, I mean, I know, as Dunaway loves to say, guys, they're not going by horse and wagon, but it does catch up with your body at some point.
Well, imagine, if you will, and this is stupid, it would have never happened, but what if Cal had so much money in athletics, they just said, you know what? We're just going to rent out Birmingham Southern. They're not using that college this year. We're just going to rent the dorm rooms at Birmingham Southern.
Football team there.
Yeah, we're just going to play it. We're going to play 12 games on the road this year. We'll play at Protective Stadium, and we'll play the games in the ACC.
Like the
have they stayed on the East Coast yet, though?
I don't think so, because I don't think they got the money to do it. I mean, you see NFL teams do that a lot.
You know, in basketball, you got a midweek game in a weekend, so you can do that. But in football, you can't do that.
No, you could. I mean, these guys aren't going to class, and if they're doing a class, it's online anyway.
They can do remote. They could.
I
just don't see them doing that.
I promise you, if Ohio State had back-to-backs at USC and Oregon,
they'd stay.
I guarantee you they'd figure it out.
So you're telling me if Alabama had a trip to USC and Oregon, that Alabama would stay out there?
I would think so.
I would think they'd try to figure it out. Yeah, I mean, that
would be a lot.
What you would start hearing is, the cost of traveling back and then back.
You almost
we actually break even staying out there.
The NFL teams that have to come East or West Coast that have back-to-backs, a lot of them will stay.
I think it was the Chargers that did it earlier this year, right? That Harbaugh decided to stay on the East Coast. I think it was the Chargers.
It was.
Keep in mind, even Alabama basketball, after winning in the Elite Eight, at first we thought they were going to stay out there, but even they came back home.
They did.
And then flew back.
But they stayed out. Did they come back from Spokane before going?
They went straight down.
Yeah, so they stayed out after Spokane. I think that was more like, God, we have been on the road for a month now.
I need clean underwear, Coach.
Let's at least go home and see if our house is still there.
Yeah.
Third down.
Same question, different teams. Which undefeated has better chance of losing Saturday? Penn State in the Coliseum against USC, or Iowa State in front of all the hillbillies in Morgantown?
This could be another one where, unlike when we say neither could happen, this could be both of them. That's why I'm excited about it. These are the kind of games that makes me exciting this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend, look, and maybe it ends up being a dub, but I think this weekend could be incredible.
Because you have a lot. I mean, you have the big one with Ohio State and Oregon, and the big one with Ole Miss, LSU.
Well,
but you have a lot of games like this.
Why we had difficulty with our upset alert, because there's so many.
3.5.
Yeah, 3.5 and under.
Just under the 4.5 rule. But this is one of those where I could see USC beating Penn State. I could see West Virginia beating Ohio State. That would just make to a great weekend. Yeah. But I say most likely West Virginia beats Iowa State.
Yeah, I would agree.
Volfan 205 says Cal could rent out the UAB football facility. They're not using it. That's a terrible shot at UAB. Come on, guys.
Brown, who do you think?
I will say
Penn State to USC or Iowa State to West Virginia.
State. Although everything tells you Penn State's going to win this game. It's for James Franklin's great.
Yep.
He doesn't lose to unranked teams, and he doesn't lose on the road a lot. So, do you doubt Iowa? You've always liked Iowa State.
Yep. No, I like Rocco Beck. You know, and much like you saw with Brock Purdy. Yeah, this is a really good Iowa State team.
Yeah.
But are they good enough to win in Morgantown? I don't know.
Can I ask you while you're talking? Matt Campbell, right?
Yeah.
He's been there since he left Toledo. Mm-hmm. Jason Candle, who he left behind, just got a contract extension, continues to win. Why has Jason Candle? Everyone says he loves the community, he loves the university, doesn't really want to go anywhere else. I assume Matt Campbell has liked Iowa State. He didn't move on when he had a chance to leave Iowa State.
Well, difference is Jason Candle's probably making $800,000, and now Matt Campbell's making $5 million in Ames. So he's probably the richest person in Ames, I'm guessing.
There's probably
really don't have to go anywhere. And now,
richest non-farmer
in the Big 12, he's got a great shot of every 4 or 5 years getting to a college football playoff.
He's got one happening right now. I just wonder when Jason Candle's time will come to leave Toledo, if it ever comes.
4th down.
Better chance of happening. Ashton Genty goes 300 plus on the ground tomorrow night, or Hawaii actually wins outright.
I got to check Hawaii's rush defense. I'm assuming it's not great since you asked me this question.
Okay, let me ask you this while he's looking
It really
that up.
doesn't matter how good the rush defense is.
Let me ask you as you're doing this, though, because he really hadn't played the second halves of the last 2 games.
Yeah, well, 2 of the 5 games he hasn't played in the second half.
So at some point...
And he's still on pace to break Barry Sanders' record through 13 games.
Yeah, as we said on the show yesterday, there is a chance that Boise State not only could make the college football playoffs, it's a long shot, but they could play their way into a bye or not having to be the 12 seed where they have a more manageable first-round game by just how good of a season they can have.
Yeah.
You got to take that in consideration when you talk about a number like 300. You could see him getting 202 and then checking out of the game.
Well, see, and I think Spencer Danielson, your first-year coach at Boise, is actually doing this the right way when he's looking at the big picture. I don't know how you guys would do this. I probably would get greedy.
I'd probably try to win him the Heisman.
Yeah, and still get him all these carries, like just have these ridiculous video game numbers and let him, put down, his mark in history, break all of these records, and at the same time, hope for the best that you don't get injured and he's in the college football playoff.
But as people, you still vote on the Heisman, or you have for a long, long time. We're all adult college football fans. If he puts up 186 again, this time against Hawaii in 2 quarters, is that going to be any different than him putting up 302 yards against Hawaii in 4 quarters? It isn't for me. I'm still going to say that's 186. If they wanted to, you could have had 400.
Yeah, but I think 300 resonates with a lot of people.
It's a big number. And Hawaii's rush defense actually hasn't been awful. They were terrible against Texas State. They gave up 247 a game, but that's an outlier. Or 247 in that game, but that's an outlier.
Because I've done some comparisons before where I didn't get credit for. I will give Brock Heward 100% credit on this. He's like, Genty reminds me of Marshall Faulk. And I haven't thought of that, but when I watch tomorrow night, I'm really going to look at this because I did think for a 3-year period in the NFL, Marshall Faulk was the best player in the NFL. What separated him was what he could do out of the backfield with his hands.
Marshall Faulk, which version of him? With
the
Rams?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was Faulk that fast?
Oh, yeah.
Genty is
Faulk
so
can fly.
fast.
I think his speed got more recognized when he was at San Diego State.
Right.
You remember, when he would touch it, and I think that was Brock's point. Anytime he touched the ball, he had an opportunity.
You remember the Saturday night ESPN San Diego State? You got him all the time because of Marshall Faulk, and it was always so much fun. He was just so good. And it would be like, all right, the SEC game's ending. Don't forget, we got one more game for you. We'll send you out to Jack Murphy.
Brooks brings up a great point. If they could play their way to the 8th seed, Boise State, and host a game on that blue turf, probably in the snow, that would be some magical 4K television.
Oh, it would be. It would take a lot for them to get to the 8th seed.
Yeah.
I mean, now you were painting a scenario to them getting to the 4th seed.
I'm liking this 4K in baseball, by the way.
Yeah, it's so good, isn't it?
Technically, it is easier for them to get the 4th seed than it is the 8th seed, in my opinion.
I would think I would agree with you. Neither one of them are likely, but I think it's probably easier to get the bye.
Because top 4 highest rated conference champions are the top 4 seed. To be the 8th seed, now you've got to pass 2nd and 3rd place Big Ten SEC teams.
Well, I'll tell you how Boise State gets. I mean, obviously they got to continue to win, but Oregon, like if Oregon beats Ohio State tomorrow night, that 3-point loss in Eugene looks really good.
It does.
And that was our point yesterday, and them possibly being the number 4 overall seed was you go and you sit there and you say, man, Oregon's the number 1 team in the country, and we had a chance to beat them. That was pretty big. That's 4 Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, stop in for a slice salad for lunch. Pick up a couple of pies on your way home. You're going to absolutely love the local pizza, local ingredients from the Soul Pie, the Hot Mama, the Bajaya Special, the Wing and a Prayer, spicy Hawaiian. Can't go wrong for lunch or dinner. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
And our friends are right there at the Pants Store getting you ready to dress to the nines for your favorite football team. Early game tomorrow. Maybe a little hoodie or something to roll to Tuscaloosa early before the kick for your tailgating. The Pants Store has whatever you want to wear. Birmingham locations, Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, Auburn, and Leeds. Your game day headquarters with Alabama and Auburn polos, hats, and quarter zips.
From name brands like Gentil, Antigua, Cutter, Buck, Horn Legend, and a lot more. And ladies, the rompers and the dresses are there with free alterations and free gift wrapping on everything this holiday season. And the footwear is ready to roll too. The Western boots, the New Balance, the Hokas. Nothing says Roll Tide and War Eagle like the Pants Store, pantsstore.com. When we come back, we have the headlines for you.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
You can't wait for college football talk every Monday, so we don't make you wait. Ryan Brown here for the Next Round. You can catch ESPN's Tom Luganbill with Jim Dunaway on Monday Morning Live at 7 a.m. I'm with Brandon Marcello on the Middle 8 at 8 after the Next Round. Hear from Alabama coach Kalen DeBoer and Auburn coach Hugh Freeze. After the coaches talk, Fox Sports analyst Brock Hewer joins Lance Taylor for Unlocked at 1 o'clock. All college football, all day Monday, anywhere you get the Next Round.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Just a little confirmation for you. I talked to some folks at South Carolina. Mike Shula does travel. And Mike Shula actually is on the sidelines during games.
Interesting.
As our analyst now in college football. You know, there's no limitation on what analysts can do now. New rule this year. So Mike Shula will be with the travel squad. And you'll be able to see Coach Shula if you want to wish him well and see him in pregame or whatever. I'm going to try to bump into him maybe. And,
the old show? Oh, you're going over the old show.
Maybe get a chance to bump into him. And
you still doing the coaching show?
Just the
one guy that was nice to me in this.
Well, I don't know where how you guys remember Mike Shula. I know what his record was, but for realistic Alabama fans, and I've said this every time we've talked about Mike Shula, crappy situation he takes over with. Out of cycle, hired in what, May?
Late April, early May.
It was May.
Hired in May. Off of a guy who came in as a clown show from Washington State and really didn't put a lot into the program, put a lot into everything else but not the program. And then Mike Shula takes over, and then you've got a limited roster too with what had happened with probation over the years. So, and then he turns it over with a few players he recruited at the end that Nick Saban turned into stars. I mean, it was.
I thought he did an okay job based on the circumstances. Now, you say clown show, and look, I mean, what Mike Price had no idea what he was getting into. Mike Price was a much better coach than Mike Shula, though.
Oh, sure. I mean, the coach Mike Price was not a clown show at all. The Mike Price, the way he acted when he got to town, was a clown show.
You never got a chance to see that.
I did at Washington State.
No, I did at Washington State.
Yeah, he's a much better coach.
Mike Shula's kept a job in the NFL the entire time. He's reason he's been on NFL staffs forever. He's a good coach.
Mike Price took Washington State to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, Mike Price is much better head coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not even
a head coach there.
Yeah.
Mike Shula back in town this weekend. Again, I disagree with you guys. I would take Mike Shula over Mike Price every day.
Wow.
Every day.
There's a reason Mike Shula's been a head coach one time.
Over a guy that took Washington State to the Rose Bowl. Coach Drew Bledsoe, one of the better college quarterbacks we've ever seen.
Ryan Leaf was a Heisman finalist.
Heisman finalist and Ryan Leaf.
So Gene Chizik was a good coach then, right? Because he had Cam Newton and they won a national championship.
Multiple quarterbacks.
Yeah, but he had two good ones. What do you have without a good quarterback?
What's that?
What do you have without a good quarterback?
No, but to bring a good quarterback to Pullman is one thing. To develop those guys, I mean, you are the one person that would argue for Mike Shula over Mike Price.
Yeah, and I think we all know why.
And maybe
and it's fine.
Shula's dad and
I think Don
wife.
Shula definitely would. He was 82-78 at Washington State, and went to 2 Rose Bowls.
What did Shula end up at Alabama, just for historical purposes?
26-26, maybe.
Yeah, something about 500. Did he have 1 9-win season?
He had a 10-win season in 05.
Yeah,
that was that season was when they led LSU at the half, and if they beat LSU, they go to Atlanta regardless of the Iron Bowl outcome. If I remember correctly, I think that would have won them the West, but they did not win the Iron Bowl.
Chip Kelly's. Go ahead.
Mike there you got. I think 26-23 was his actual record at Alabama. 13-9 in conference.
Chip Kelly returning to Oregon this week as the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. Here's Chip.
Chip, I know you've been back to Oregon 3 times at least. But still, how special is it for you? I mean, what are your kind of strongest memories of coaching there and building that program?
Yeah, well, I didn't build the program. Rich Brooks and Mike Bellotti built the program. I just kind of jumped in after Mike, but it's a special place, and I think it's great for our players. You know, a chance for them to play in one of the special places in college football. You know, they came out here a couple years ago and got to play in the Shoe. We get to go play in Autzen Stadium, and it's Autzen Stadium at that time of day. It's truly special. So I think our guys are excited. They're a really good team, you know, and I think that'll get your attention right away when you look at the film. And then I have, family there. I have a brother-in-law and a sister-in-law and 3 nephews, so I'll get a chance to see them. And then some of the coaches that I've coached with, Nick Eliotti, John Neal, Don Pelham, Steve Greatwood, a couple guys we've text messaged. So besides family and those coaches that I worked with that I'll get a chance to see very quickly, it's about the game, and I'm fired up for our players because it is a really special place to play.
What a great answer by him.
Yep.
I did not build that program.
Right. Yeah, Brooks and Bellotti did, and look, that's fact.
I feel like sometimes Brooks doesn't get the credit he deserves. It feels like Mike Bellotti gets more credit.
Yeah, I mean, Brooks took them to a
Rose Bowl.
Rose Bowl in 1994, I think was the year against Penn State when there was no expectation. But he is the one, Chip Kelly's offense took them to another level. playing for a national championship. And then Mark Helfrich, people will forget that name, the offensive coordinator they took off when Chip Kelly went to the NFL. He actually played for a national championship in 2014.
Our friends of Champies is coming up here. They bring you the 11 o'clock hour. A little more on Champies here now. Sterling's on his way up here, huh?
Yeah, Sterling's bringing that's the great thing about Sterling. The food is so good at Champies, and you guys know this. He's like, what do you want? And I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a head count, and you bring whatever you want.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I don't know what kind of
So
food's
it's
coming.
a huge surprise coming from Sterling.
Yeah, but very excited that that Champy's coming all the way from Alabaster up here to our studios.
Highway 119 in Alabaster, champyschicken.com. Maybe he'll bring a little bit of that smoked sausage cheese pickle plate he brought last time.
So good.
Or the buttermilk fried pickle spears. He's never brought that up here. The tamales always make the trip. So too the fried chicken. More on them in the 11 o'clock hour. Tell us about CPAP Plus, LT.
Yeah, if you're looking for the best CPAP gear with personal service you can trust, visit CPAP Plus. 3 convenient locations, Pelham Highway 280, Trustful, the O'Neill brothers, CPAP users themselves, so they know what it's like. They know the best equipment out there, and they have got a special for the next round viewer and listener, $20 off right now towards a credit of a new mask system, CPAP cleaner, or even a travel CPAP machine. Stop by today, CPAP Plus, where you're going to find the best service and equipment, all in stock, ready for you, with hundreds of 5-star Google reviews. Trust CPAP Plus for all of your CPAP needs. CPAP Plus, where every night matters.
All right, before we get to our McCurry headlines today, Tyler has put together his thesis on corny dogs. They're the same thing, corny dogs and dogs, he said earlier, but he went on and did a little work on it. So what do you have for us, Tyler, man? What do you have?
I've got a little history of corny dogs.
All right.
So originally, Texas was a hot spot for German immigrants back in the 1900s.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of them were farmers, and Germans, they're known for the bratwurst, their traditional sausages.
Love them.
Us Americans don't really care for those. We want everything fried and battered.
Right.
So they
So have you ever had a
decided to-
brat inside of a brat corn dog?
Those are good.
You've had that?
You've had that?
No, I've had the
I feel like I've had that.
andouille corn dogs because there was
that's
a
really
place.
good, yeah.
It was Jackson's in Homewood. They used to have the andouille corn dog with like this special mustard on the side. It was fantastic.
I think a brat in a corn dog might be a little bit tough if you do the brat right, where it's still got the casing.
Yeah.
That'd be tough.
So the serving stick came later, but
Okay.
they started off with just battering their
What's
sausages.
that bullshit on the side?
That is a German corn dog, essentially. It's called a Nodelwurst.
Yeah. And a little jam
It's
like.
got some salad with
It's
it.
got some curry ketchup with
No, I'm
it.
talking
Oh,
about
that's what it
the
is, curry ketchup.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm talking about on the backside.
That's salad.
Salad.
That's just
I
a
don't know what
waste.
that is. Looks
Yeah,
like
give me-
cabbage and
Give
some
me
other
a
stuff.
second, corny dog or whatever.
Now, in the 1920s, in 1927, we had an official patent for the corn dog, specifically for a combined dipping, cooking, and article holding apparatus.
So you get the plastic
Right.
and or the wooden stick.
Yep, and it was described as a clean, wholesome, and tasty refreshment.
I love them.
Wholesome.
I think it is kind of wholesome.
Clean.
It's part of America.
Yeah.
And then the corny dogs started with Fletcher's original corny dogs at the 1942 State Fair.
And this is the part of the history I wanted here. So the corny dog was a invention at the state fair, correct?
Yes, it was. The
You wasted your
brothers-
time on the first.
No, I'm just saying I knew the history of the corny dog was actually a brand at the Texas State Fair.
Right.
Oklahoma and Texas play each other this weekend.
So Neil and Carl Fletcher were in vaudeville performing, and then they got rid of that. They said, we're done with that. And they opened up a food stand at the state fair, and there was a local baker who would bake these hot dogs in cornmeal instead of frying them. But
Yes.
it took forever, even though they tasted good. So they decided to deep fry it and put it on a stick to sell more of them and make them quicker.
Yeah.
And their slogan was, corny dogs are simple, but they ain't easy.
15 cents a piece in 1942.
Yep. And they went under different names like Canines, the Brown Bomber, and then they finally landed on Corny Dog.
Right.
And they've actually been at the Texas State Fair 10 years longer than Big Tex.
Oh, my.
Oh,
That's a
wow.
long run.
Dude, those dudes' fingers are the same size as the corn dogs. Hey, so when was your assignment given to you today?
8:45.
That's pretty impressive.
That's very good.
So you can do proposals for us, right?
Yeah. Way to go, Tyler. All right, McCurry Van and Car Rental gets us to our headlines today. Oh, we got more. Go ahead.
This is the last slide. Now, we thought that corn dogs and corny dogs were different, but they're the same name. but it goes across different names everywhere around the world. Australia calls them Pluto pups, Dagwood dogs, Dippy dogs.
I like Dagwood dogs.
And Prono pups.
Oh,
France calls them the Beignet des Saucisses, or sausage donut. South Africa just calls them Yankees.
All Americans eat this.
That's not bad. I like that.
And then Japan calls them American dogs or American dogu. And Korean calls it the hot dogu or hot dog, which is what you see to the right.
Good pronunciation.
So really, the hot dog in Korea becomes as confusing as soccer and football here.
That's true.
When we
It's
ask
not
for a
same.
hot dog, they're
Yeah.
going to hand us a corn dog.
And you say, that's not a hot dog.
No,
That's
a hot dog. Da-da-da-da-da. Well, it was very good, Tyler.
Yeah,
Thank
well
you.
done.
Thank you
I
very
know
much. Maddie loves a corn dog. Anytime
Yeah.
I come over, I bring her a corn dog from, not the best corn dog, but from a local place.
Yeah,
The
I
corn dog.
don't. Corn dogs I like a lot. I never eat them, but
Yeah.
I like them.
Buffalo Wild Wings, who brings us our pick 3, used to have
Mini corn dogs.
mini corn dogs. Not anymore, though, right?
Nope. Still don't
They were so
understand
good.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that was my go-to when I go
That
there.
was
My
my
little
go-to,
guy
too.
always got them, but it was always a appetizer, mini corn dogs to start things off. Before we get to McCurry, tell us about Milo's.
What is better than one Milo's burger? The only answer here, 100 Milo's burgers, which can now be easily done through their catering. To learn more about their catering, go to miloshamburgers.com/catering. That is miloshamburgers.com/catering. Catering options range from individualized box lunches, ideal for any work or team gathering, to customize, build your own burger/chicken sandwich bars, which will be a hit at any tailgate out there. And as a special offer to the Next Round viewer and listener, Milo's offering $10 off first-time catering order this fall. Enter that code catering10, all caps, catering10 when you order Milo's Catering through the Milo's mobile app. Stay saucy from our friends at Milo's.
The College Football Spotlight.
Like the game's already been played. Monday's headlines today.
All right, the spotlight each day, and we're going to do the headlines here, is presented by McCurry Van and Car Rental. McCurry Van and Car Rental. If you need that car, van, or truck rent from McCurry, all the rentals you need, trucks, SUVs, and passenger vans, they make it easy to rent in and out fast. Locations in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Coleman on 2nd Avenue Northwest, and Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Reserve your rental today, 256-559-1003, McCurryRentals.com. That's 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com.
Like the games have already been played, mine's usually the most vanilla, so we'll start mine off. Tyler here in the middle, then we'll go to LT and Brownie. In the Oregon Trail this week, what the buck? Today's Jack Sawyer, mean pride. 4 sacks for that guy. He's a guy to keep an eye on. He'll be Dylan Gabriel's biggest nightmare. Bucks beat the Ducks 31-13.
What is mean pride? Give me the Jack Sawyer reference
Tom
there.
Sawyer, mean pride, the song.
Oh, gotcha.
So Jack Sawyer, mean pride. 4 sacks there.
Right.
A mortal Quinn, like a mortal sin, Brown. Horns survived 27-17 despite a couple of turnovers from Quinn Ewers against that Oklahoma defense.
Yeah, I kind of want him to go back to that ridiculous hair.
I know. I like the kid when he came in and visited us, but that was great hair.
When he looked like a Mountain Dew mountaineer back in the day. Death Valley over redemption. Lane Kiffin trying to redeem himself after the loss to Kentucky. I'm going to go Death Valley here in a classic. LSU over Ole Miss. Death Valley over redemption 31-30. LT's up next. What you got for us? LT?
We are going to Provo.
The Brigham Young Bulletin.
Yeah, the Brigham Young Bulletin. This is a great publication, by the way. Contrary to popular belief, BYU does believe.
Oh, wow.
Noah's Ark. 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns as Cougars take first loss.
All right, so who is Noah? Tell the people who Noah is.
That would be Noah Fafita,
Yeah,
the quarterback
well
for Arizona.
Yep.
So he's doing his things in twos, right? Isn't that what Noah did?
Yes, he did. Yeah,
2 touchdowns, 2 passing, 2 rushing.
I like it. Very well done, Lance. And the Brigham Young Bulletin.
Yeah. Hey, look at that. What is this tamales? Is this?
I was waiting on that one. That's not part of your headline.
An Alabama podcast producer recently tried to write a witty news headline for a show, but struggled to come up with anything because he was distracted by the thought of tamales, especially those of the Mississippi Delta variety. The absence of his work will surely be missed, but at least we'll have tamales.
That's very true.
You were working on a thesis paper, Tyler.
Normally I like to put in just like one of those smaller headlines as a joke, and I couldn't think of anything this morning.
Did we skip over it last week? Did you have it last
I think
week?
last week Was it the Hooked on Phonics one?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We
didn't read the script. I remember reading the headlines. I thought that was just ad placement on the Adobe or whatever you were using to build it, that it was sort of a mock built-in, and you were supposed to erase it when you built it.
No.
So that was real last week.
Yep. I was just thinking of Champy's tamales and couldn't think of a joke.
It'll be here shortly.
By the way, hat tip to Zach in the mybookie.ag chat room. An alternate headline: Noah won't get soaked.
I thought about the soaking.
Okay. It normally makes an appearance for BYU. Mine's going to be for the Birmingham News. Alabama man declares he will now start giving a piss about things other than the Tide. Tough times in Tuscaloosa, guys. You lose to Vandy, you lose your Uber fan. He's going to give a piss about more than just the Tide now, unfortunately.
If only Alabama would have blitzed a little bit more, if they'd actually listened to him.
He tries to tell him, Joe.
Yeah, if he was calling the plays, maybe it would have been different last week.
Page 2, without a game, Auburn coach visits the supermarket to blame a bagger for his poor performance. Got to keep sharp. And page 3, Jets quarterback, he wants to find a music star for himself so his point spreads can drop. We didn't ask Ferman about that. I know Vegas had already discredited it. I wonder if Ferman.
Very silly.
That's about Taylor Swift and Kelsey, right?
Yeah, that is it. Remember Kelsey's point spread, they drop, or they go up, actually.
His catch totals, yards over and under changes a little bit. That's our Monday headlines today on college football this weekend, brought to you by our friends at McCurry.
McCurry Van and Car Rental. You can start at McCurryRentals.com. That is McCurryRentals.com.
Other things that we've gotten wrong throughout the show, other than maybe some of our SEC grades that we all passed out, and you guys had great comments on social media earlier this week, and some predictions on the games. Grace Tree Services takes care of the dead wood on the show, but the dead wood in your yard as well. A great place to get preventative tree care done before a tree comes down in the storm. These guys can come out, assess your trees, and take them down for you.
Yeah, I had to do it at my property a couple of months ago. Family owned and operated for over 25 years right here in Birmingham. Experts in high-risk tree removals, pruning, soil health treatment to strengthen the trees and plants. Grace maintains a fleet of specialized cranes and lifts to get the job done right. Prevent damage to your home. You've probably seen them rolling around town. Call 205-281-6100. You can scan that QR code that you see right there, or just visit gracetree.com.
All right, coming up in the next segment, more of our pick 3 from our friends at Buffalo Wild Wings, Lane Kiffin and Brian Kelly on their big game this weekend, and we get you ready for Alabama hosting South Carolina, 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. Don't forget tonight, rolltide.com. You can get tickets to go watch Alabama raise the banner from the Final Four in Coleman Coliseum. And don't forget all your coverage, not only from that event, but from the whole weekend at covercrimson.com. That's where you get your Alabama postgame shows now. covercrimson.com with Clint Lamb and Mick Gillespie right at the conclusion of the Alabama game. Last week they went for 2 hours and 55 minutes in a postgame show, and they take your phone calls and everything. You get that at covercrimson.com. Sign up now for just $1. Get tons of incredible insight and content. Also subscribe to their YouTube channel.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trussville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
Hey, you. Feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair. To kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge. plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan-Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, CoverCrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Hey, don't forget you can subscribe to our podcast as you've been able to since we started, and it downloads automatically every day for you. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you get the hours of the show broken down for you. Anything else we do, what LT and Forrester clip out of the show, the best of the show, it's all right there in audio form for you to take on a run, on a ride in your car, whatever. Subscribe right now, download, rate, and comment Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and you can also get that at nextroundlive.com. That's where you play the Pick 3, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. We'll give you our picks coming up in the final segment of the show after we do trash a little bit later on. It's the bewitching hour here, final hour of the week on the show. LT's got his ice-cold Stella from our friends at Adams Beverage. We'll be out Thursday night at a new location for Bud Light game night.
Yeah, the Goose, which is right there, Avondale. I don't even know what the cross
4th Avenue
streets are.
South, I believe, Lance.
Yeah, it's a small location. It's got the AstroTurf or the Sport Turf outside, but really cool place. Come join us there. We'll give you more details next week, but we will be at the Goose in Avondale next Thursday.
4100 4th Avenue South is where you find it.
5 to 7 we'll be out there with our live show. If you can't make it to the area for any of our Bud Light game nights, you can always watch it and enjoy us on all of our video platforms. That's when we do tomorrow, every Saturday, 9 to 10, with our kickoff show, our game day show, 9 to 10 every Saturday to kick off the college football Saturday. And we've got a special location for that tomorrow, Brown.
That's right. We're going to be at the brand new Academy Sports and Outdoors. It's their grand opening. We'll be out there hanging out at Academy Sports and Outdoors. It's just off Highway 280. in the Colonnade area. I don't know really how to describe that, where the Target Shopping Center is. It used to be a Best Buy.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's where you can find us. We'll be there
so kind of behind New Balance and Chick-fil-A.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Right up the hill there. The brand new Academy Sports and Outdoors. It's their grand opening. We'll be hanging out there.
And our show this hour being brought to you by our friends at Champy's Chicken, who's about to come up here with a catering option. You can get them to cater your office parties. Or your office meetings at 205-621-3991, 621-3991, or go to champyschicken.com. Sterling's got the location that we care about, the one right there on Highway 119 in Alabaster. It's been there for over a decade. The great appetizer, the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, you can turn that into a meal if you want to with a slaw on the side. Brined overnight chicken fingers and fried chicken, po' boys and smoked hot wings. Everything you need right there. Highway 119 in Alabaster. Tailgating and catering with our friends at Champy's Chicken, champyschicken.com. Jeff from Anniston joins the show. He's next with us on the phone. Jeff, how you doing?
Hey, man, doing all right. You know, life's a fickle, fickle beach, you know.
A fickle, fickle beach. We get asked about you when you don't call often.
Yeah,
sometimes.
I mean, I think you're dead a lot of times.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you're alive.
I think so, too, sometimes. A quick TV show recommendation that I ran across, if anyone's interested, is from the mid-2000s. I'd never heard of it. It just happened on it, called Corner Gas. If you like dry, sarcastic sitcom with no laugh track, thank God, a little sniff of Canadian bacon, I highly, highly recommend it. It's on Freevee.
Never even heard of it.
Corner
I hadn't
Gas.
either until it's a Canadian sitcom, so that's probably why. But it's funny as hell, man. Dude named Brent Butts, the creator of it. It's a funny show.
All right.
All right. And Travis Hunter should be, if he stays healthy, he should be an automatic shoe-in for Heisman. Do y'all remember? Brownie might be a little young. Gordy Lockbaum from Holy Cross.
I remember him. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Yeah, I remember running back.
Yeah, Holy Cross, 1AA, and he finished third in the Heisman.
Yep.
And second in the Maxwell. So
Very different back then, though,
than
right, Jeff? Because of the way the Eastern writers controlled the narrative of college football. Holy Cross got a little bit more play than they get now with everything on television.
And I believe he got more coverage than Travis Hunter does. I mean, what Travis Hunter's doing is amazing to me.
Well, I think what's going to happen here, Jeff, if they beat a Kansas State and if they win some big games down the stretch, I think Travis Hunter will pull away and he will be your Heisman favorite and ultimately probably wins the award. But they've got to win games. They still have an opportunity to maybe go 4-8 or 5-7.
I don't understand that, though. If he's doing what he's doing, I don't think that should matter in the Heisman.
Maybe it shouldn't, but I'm just saying that's the reality of the situation.
He's the best two-way player of our lifetime, and I cannot believe people argue Charles Woodson over him. It's not even close.
Not even close.
No, I don't hear anybody argue Charles Woodson.
Absolutely people argue Charles Woodson.
Defensive guy, kick returner, right? Ran a few plays at wide receiver.
Some offense, but just enough to get him Heisman notoriety.
Right.
Charles Woodson's, Travis Hunter's a legit two-way player.
Right. You debate on where he's going to play in the NFL.
That is correct.
Yeah.
One thing before I get asked some sports opinions, but hotter than her prime, Sarah Jessica Parker or Steffi Graf? Jim, I'm kind of with you on Steffi. She could look good at times, man.
But
I could at least go the cute route with Sarah Jessica Parker before her face continued to grow. There was never a cute aspect to Steffi Graf.
She had the whole tennis body, which is the female version of the male soccer body.
early Sex and the City, yes, and then what movie was she in before that? That she was
Footloose, as rusty as a.
Peter Griffin said that her face looked like a foot. I think that's a pretty good description.
On Australian rules football.
Are you talking about Sarah Jessica?
Yeah.
I thought she was cute in Sex and the City. It seemed like there was one movie before that.
Steffi Graf's face more like a catcher's mitt.
Sometimes, man, I don't know. Sometimes she looked pretty hot.
I definitely don't want to judge because my face probably looks a lot. I know it looks a lot worse than hers. But I thought Steffi was sexy back in the day as well, Jeff.
Now, isn't it great? We'll soon get to start talking about bubble teams in college football.
Yeah, already are. I mean, this Ole Miss-LSU game becomes massive this weekend.
Yeah. And wasn't it just 2 or 3 years ago they were talking about how they needed to speed up the game of college football? It took too long to. now we know it was actually just so they could fit in 2 more commercials, right?
That's what everybody says.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I will say, I didn't know how much you would notice the new clock rules in college football as they've started to stack up. That last 8 minutes of a college football game flies by now in the clock rules. That's always been the case with the NFL. But I tell you what, if you're down 2 scores, when it hits the 8-minute mark, you are in serious trouble in college football.
That's right. And Jim, I'm with you, man. I used to love to watch Louis T. pitch. He's one of the reasons I made Boston my American League team as a kid, man. He was must-watch TV when he was pitching.
You didn't get a lot of other teams on, and so you got a lot of Red Sox, Yankees when they would play each other, yes.
You know, if you think about it, one person's irritable rash is another person's fond memory. But this is a serious question. What would happen if Army and Navy did go 11? I know y'all talked about this. Went 11-0. Would the playoff take the conference title winner even if they lost the next week?
Yes. They seed the playoff and everything.
Yeah, I just don't understand why it wouldn't be the winner of that game is this seed.
What do you mean the winner of what game?
Army-Navy coming up the next weekend.
Well, because
they would have played the conference championship game if they're both unbeaten, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. They would have played the conference championship game. So now you're valuing the Army-Navy game more than an actual conference championship game.
I mean, if they both go unbeaten, Army and Navy are going to play the week before the Army-Navy game.
Yeah.
So at that point, if I'm Army and I beat Navy, I'm resting my starters versus Navy the next week.
That's true.
That's
true.
so weird.
Quick rant about Bama. I told anybody to listen after the South Florida game, if their quarterback could hit the broadside of a barn, that game could have been a lot different. Well, Vandy just had a much better version of that quarterback. Strong runner, good passer. And I'm not a fan of our 3-2-1-2 zone defense or whatever the hell we're running out there. I was screaming. Who'd ever listen? Our defense was being outnumbered in the box by blockers. I mean, and does that that takes Womack that long to make the perfect call, and that's what he comes up with? And I'm not a fan of the bend don't break crap either. It allows the other team to dictate the pace of the game. You should use your overall speed and talent. And the last thing.
And by the way, I think Malachi Moore kind of hinted towards that.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I would say, yes.
And the last 2 games, our tandem of what I think is one of the best tandems at running back in college, in the last 2 games have a total of 22 carries. That should be a half. That's not 2 games.
It is.
Honestly.
Yeah, it's puzzling to me. Alabama's offense hasn't been a problem most of the year, but their use of those 2 running backs just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Now, they don't wear on the defense like they used to by pounding the running game, but they don't have a lot of big plays out of that run game against quality opponents. Like even last week against Vandy, when they were running the traditional run game, I don't think that offensive line really blew open a lot of holes for them. Just in my memory, I haven't looked at the stats.
But you only
I'm sure
get
Brown
11
does.
shots. I mean, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
You got to give him more shots. All right, I know LT might be calling some games, so I know he might not can make a pick. But who you got straight up?
Real quickly on what you're talking about, though, every time you run that traditional play, though, you're taking the ball out of Jalen Milroe's hands, and that becomes the tough part for Sheridan there. Nick Sheridan is, okay, am I going to give Jalen Milroe a chance to throw the football, run the football, or am I going to hand it straight off to Jam or Justice? And I agree with you. It feels like it should be a little different because I'm used to watching Alabama football, but now you're taking the ball out of Jalen Milroe's hand, and he's been the most.
You got to think of your defense too, though. You got to give them a little time. I mean, if you go out there and just bam, 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 3 passes, they're right back on the field. Vandy's glad going to take that 7-minute drive again on our bend don't break. So, all right, Ohio State at Oregon. Who you got?
Is this we're just going straight up winner?
Straight up.
Ohio
Straight
State.
up.
Ohio State.
I think Ohio State, I guess. I don't know.
Some indecision.
Yeah,
Penn State, USC.
Penn State.
That's another tough one. It really is.
I'll be cheering for USC, but Penn State.
Why are you cheering for USC?
I don't like James Franklin and Penn State.
Fair enough.
All right, Cal Pitt.
Cal.
I think Cal. Everything screams Pitt, but I'm going to say Cal.
Cal for me, too.
Kansas State, Colorado.
Kansas State.
I think Colorado wins it, but
Last one,
probably
Ole
cheer
Miss,
for Kansas State.
Ole Miss LSU.
I lean LSU, but again, I don't feel great about it.
Probably lean Ole Miss, but I'm cheering for LSU.
Jim, this is proof you were right. You do call the home team second. You notice I didn't have to say at all, but y'all knew it was implied that they were at.
I think we knew where they were.
I've also looked at a schedule.
So wait, Dunaway, so you're pulling against Lane Kiffin?
Oh, I am, 100%.
Is there a reason, like strategic for Alabama? Or
No. I want LSU to win this game. I'm not a big fan of where Ole Miss's program is right now with Lane. I didn't like the way all this week, or 2 weeks ago, before he got his loss, where he was spending time in the news conference doing antics talking about Hugh Freeze and Auburn, and then
I agree with you 100%.
And then they go get their butt beat by Kentucky.
I thought you were a big fan.
I love that kind of stuff if you take care of your business, because it's great radio and television for us, but you don't do that and then you go get your butt kicked. Just like I wasn't a fan of Alabama or jawing and running their mouths while Vandy was running it up down the field on them. I don't mind that stuff at all as long as you're kicking their butt, but I mean, you're sitting there jawing at somebody who's beating you for 60 minutes. Didn't make sense.
All right, 2-0 in the bucket so far. Ball in the bucket so far this year. I got USC, Texas, Kansas State this week. Thanks, guys.
Wow.
Talk to y'all later.
Thank you, Jeff. Take care.
USC, Texas, Kansas State. That's a pretty good play there. I like all three of those.
That's a parlay.
Jeff from Anniston there. A couple of our great sponsors includes our friends at New York Butcher Shop.
Yeah, stop in the New York Butcher Shop. 2 locations, the original Cahaba Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. From the steaks, the smash burgers, the chicken ribs, anything you need, the specialty side items, great selection of wines and desserts. It is a one-stop dinner shop. Tell Jim and all the fine folks, guys from the Next Round sent you. Rare quality, well-done service, New York Butcher Shop.
All right, mybookie.ag, code Next Round. Let's take a look at some of these point spreads right now. Alabama still holding as a 21.5-point favorite at home as they take on South Carolina coming up on Saturday. That line has not really moved a whole lot at all. Ohio State, a 3-point favorite on the road at Oregon. It's down a touch. Kentucky only favored 12.5 now over Vandy. That has dropped.
A lot of public money on Vanderbilt.
Yeah, that's what we thought might happen there, right? And Kansas State, a game we've talked a lot about, it's ticked back up. It was down to 3, back up to 3.5 now as they are favored over Colorado late night. MyBookie.ag is where I get all those numbers. You can as well, and you can play all those games at MyBookie.ag. Code Next Round. When you sign on to MyBookie.ag, you'll make your initial deposit. You use code Next Round, they double that deposit. That is money you can play with right away at MyBookie.ag. Win once with it, it is yours and yours forever. MyBookie.ag, code Next Round. That is MyBookie.ag, code Next Round. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag, code Next Round.
And I know it hasn't lasted, but I love the nip in the air in the mornings, how we've had the 50s sooner than later. We're going to be there. You need to make sure that heating unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Our friends at Hemp Hill Services will make sure, whether you experience any plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, 205-229-2090. Jimmy Titan, what is the weather this weekend? I haven't even looked.
Today's high is only 81. A little chance of rain, I think, today at some point in some places, but 81's the high today. I think tomorrow at kickoff in Tuscaloosa is supposed to be around 80 degrees.
Okay,
so very nice. 70s next week, even high 60s.
Hey, I mean, sooner or later it's got to drop.
Yeah, I would
right?
say so. Yeah, by the end of the year.
All right, big game down in Baton Rouge this weekend. Brian Kelly, you can tell it's a big game. He's got a big game blazer on. Gets asked about how Lane Kiffin handles his social media. They're trying to lure Brian Kelly into a little bulletin board talk leading into this game.
Just wondering over the years, your impressions of Lane Kiffin as a communicator, both in the way he communicates to the public about his team and about opposing teams and high-profile figures in football.
I just think you have to look at how many followers he has on Twitter. I mean, I think that today, he's got a blue check mark, doesn't he? I mean, isn't that how you're regarded? Look, you know, Lane has a positive outlook on the game, and he certainly has been a central figure in college football. He can poke fun at himself and others, and you know, I think he's good for college football. we like to have fun back and forth. But at the end of the day, we're both college football coaches that enjoy, developing our teams. And, we went against each other when he was at USC and I was at Notre Dame. And, eventually when we get on the field, we're fierce competitors and we want to win.
Yeah, Brian Kelly there, not going to sucker it into saying anything stupid about him. I really do think these two guys like each other.
Kelly and
Lane
Kiffin?
Kiffin, I do.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I will say this game features, and I know you gave Jackson Dart a C earlier, so I'm curious what you might give Garrett Nussmeier. Statistically, the two best passing attacks in the Southeastern Conference are these two teams.
Probably
these two
about
quarterbacks.
a C or a B.
All right,
B-
C or B.
C, yeah.
Nussmeier has thrown for 1,600 yards. Dart for 500 more than that, 2,100 yards. But 15 touchdowns for Nussmeier, actually more than Dart has thrown for.
Yeah.
15 touchdowns, 4 picks. Dart, 13 touchdowns, 2 picks. By far and away, statistically, your two best passers in the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, again, what did they do in the USC game, the South Carolina game for me if you're Nussmeier, and then what did you do in the Kentucky game and the South Carolina game if you're Dart? The other games haven't mattered for those guys.
Well, this is a game where I think Nussmeier can, I was going to say, get in a conversation where you're like, okay, we know that Genty and Travis Hunter and Cam Ward and maybe Jalen Milroe have kind of separated themselves. But if Nussmeier has a huge game against Ole Miss, because you start to look at the numbers, I mean, Nussmeier right now, they're 16th in total offense. They're averaging over 35 points per game. This game last year was a complete shootout.
Yeah, if they had not lost the game to USC, we'd be talking about Nussmeier.
Well, did you guys not think that we would have undefeated in this game?
Oh, yeah.
I did,
100%.
yes, absolutely. I'm
100%.
surprised both teams have one loss.
And a lot of that falls on the quarterback.
I don't know, man. Nussmeier, I mean, you're banging him for the Southern Cal game, Jim.
I'm not banging him. I'm saying they should have won that football game.
Well, you just said go look at what he did against Southern Cal, and he struggled against the good teams.
Give me the stat. I didn't say he struggled against team. The games that mattered were USC and the game at South Carolina. The South Carolina game, pick six, could have cost him the football game, right?
Well, pick six was wiped off the board. Yeah.
Could have cost him the football game.
29 of 38, 304, 2 touchdowns and a pick against Southern Cal.
Yep.
That's winning football right there.
It is. Last drive for USC, right? Near the end of the game, last drive for USC wins that game.
Yeah. Against South Carolina, he struggled a little bit more. 285 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. 24 of 40, not as good a percentage.
A pick that counted. Yeah, and the one that didn't, right? The one that
it counted. It just got wiped. The pick six got wiped off.
South Carolina's made some teams look rougher than they are, if that makes sense.
Style of play, or
I
just
don't know
their
what it
defense
is.
that good?
They did it to Kentucky. They did it to LSU in a loss. Boy,
they did it a little bit to Ole Miss. I mean, I'd say they did it a bit to Ole Miss.
And you just wonder, do they do it tomorrow? There's nothing good that can come out for Alabama. Only bad.
Yeah, 3 of 13 on third down was Ole Miss at South Carolina, to your point. I mean, if you're not converting on third downs, then that makes your offense look stop and go. Nothing smooth there.
I'm just going to guess the most expensive player tomorrow in DraftKings will be Jalen Milroe. I would guess that.
Why so?
And I would think in any session all day long.
Why Milroe?
I think people expect a bounce back game, and just the numbers Milroe had put up before last week.
Right.
I would say because of the window they're in, yes. If you're in the night window when you would have Shador and the Ohio State-Oregon quarterbacks, I think that would water Milroe down a little bit. But Milroe in the day games, he will be the highest.
I'm just going to randomly, when you're taking care of business there, I'm just going to randomly check what the prices are on those guys. I'm just interested to see.
The business will be Woodhouse after we hear from our friend Lane Kiffin talking about leadership on that football team for Ole Miss as they go on the road in a place that he's yet to win.
Lane, Jackson said after the South Carolina game that they had, player-led meetings and whatnot to kind of get back on track, and obviously the way they got back on track was very impressive Saturday. From kind of like a leadership standpoint, do you think that this team, how does this team's leadership at the top kind of compare to others since you've been here?
Not to diminish player-led meetings, but, people have player-led meetings all around the country all the time, and then you just really don't hear much about them when they lose again. And then when they win, they're like, man, we had a player-led team meeting, so that's why we won, But so a lot of times they happen and you lose. So I do think that we have a lot of guys that really care about the team, and so that loss was really hurtful to them. And so I think more than really player-led teaming as much, I think it was more them just getting around each other. And I think it kind of helped them too. It was like a traumatic, day, because they didn't think they were going to lose and expect to lose. The game, was in hand to where if they just, go down the score, make it 2 scores. And so I just think that it was hard to deal with. And I think they helped each other through that, having similar pain at the time.
I kind of agree. I agree with them. I don't kind of 100% agree. We make such a big deal sometimes out of these player-led meetings. So let's start keeping up with the record after these, right? And like Lane said, sometimes you don't even hear about it, but the ones who hear about it, everybody's, they had the player-led meeting. All right, well, what's the record afterwards, right? I mean, teams going to lose games after player-led meetings.
Yeah, probably overvalued a little bit.
What, the player-led meeting?
Yeah.
I agree. Well, first of all, you've done something bad to get to it, right? You don't have the player-led meeting when things are going amazing. Nobody calls the player-led meeting. It's like, guys, we're beating everybody by 40. Let's keep it up. You get the player-led meeting when you've lost or you have looked awful in wins, and you got to fix something. But then my point is, okay, it gets fixed one game maybe. What happens the rest of the time, which is what Lane Kiffin is saying, is that's not like the cure-all as the player-led meeting. That might be good for one win. Maybe things get changed up a little bit, but it is far from the cure-all.
When a leadership council meets each week, is that not
player-led meeting? Probably, and which I think is kind of what Lane's saying. Is probably it goes on more than you guys know.
Every week.
Yeah, and it gets played up after we've lost a game, and we go win a game after that.
Our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa bringing you the show today.
Yeah, stop by, get the gift of luxury from Birmingham's best day spa, the Woodhouse Day Spa, located at the Summit Shopping Center's beautiful location. Stop in, see Stuart, the fine folks there. Holidays will be here before you know it. Go on and order those special person gifts online 24/7. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Again, if you want to watch football all day long tomorrow, send the wife or girlfriend to the Woodhouse Day Spa. Let her choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services, and more. Buy them 24/7 online, Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. It is the Woodhouse Day Spa.
And our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Now you smell it. Sterling and the crew is outside right now in our lobby getting ready to serve us up some lunch. Can't wait to get in there and taste those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales and so much more. You can taste them for lunch right now. Just because Sterling's here doesn't mean Champy's isn't open on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Absolutely they are, and they are standing by ready to roll for you. 205-621-3991 if you want to call ahead and place an order, or if you want to get a catering order to go for your home, getting ready to watch the football tonight or tomorrow. And then, of course, your tailgate if you're heading out early to Bryant-Denny Stadium tomorrow. Champy's Chicken is perfect on the way there and the way home. Highway 119 in Alabaster, that location for over 10 years now, and get a little dessert, a little banana pudding to go with that at our friends at champy'schicken.com. When we come back, a little trash and more of our Pick 3 as we continue on a big college football weekend, Week 7 right here on TNR.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. It is the will to prepare to win." Hi, I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryant Bank, and I can tell you that our Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that is right for you. At Bryant Bank, we specialize in community banking and offer personal and business loans, checking and savings account, mobile banking, and treasury management services. Stop by one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama to find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about.
There's only one Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Poor boy's tenders, full fried chicken plates, and a little bit of the Mississippi Delta with chicken on a stick and hot tamales. On your way to or from the big game on Highway 119 in Alabaster, stop by Champy's Chicken.
Hey, you feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair to kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemphill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the next round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemphill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Here at The Next Round, we love our guests, especially our 2024 football regulars. Auburn and Alabama fans, we've got your guys. On Mondays at 9:25, we'll be joined by Alabama offensive lineman Tyler Booker, and Tuesdays at 9:25, we chat with Auburn quarterback Peyton Thorne. Join us and rep your team.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Back with you, trash in just a second. LT will serve that up for us as he always does. Right now he's working the bar here at the Floribama.
Did you spill a beer?
It foamed out. See, we don't drink up here like we used to.
Right.
And so these kegs aren't, and they're not ready to roll like they typically are.
But they always are down at the Floribama, where you also can get the what's the great drink?
The Bushwhacker,
the
man.
Bushwhacker
I
down
love
there.
a good Bushwhacker at the Floribama. Floribama is one of the most fun places in the world.
Great music destination, and LT is going to tell you about the great folks at the Floribama and all their properties where you can have great dinners and lunches and the sports bar if you're going to be in that area to watch the games this weekend.
Little T, Taylor Korn, is heading down to the coast, and she is going to stop off not only at Floribama for the entertainment all weekend long, but also at the Old River Grill right there across the street from the Floribama. They've got all the games on. You can pull your boat up across from the world-famous Floribama. The Old River Grill, it's your waterfront sports bar with 30-plus TVs, draft beer, game day menus, and much more. For more information, FloribamaOldRiverGrill.com.
Vacation turns into a public appearance real quick for a little T at the Floribama. As she will be there this weekend. We look forward to always making it down to the Floribama. We look forward to a big college football weekend that continues tonight. But the early slate tomorrow morning, South Carolina and Bama, 11 a.m. on ABC. Missouri against UMass. That's one SEC game. And then finally that Texas-Oklahoma game at 2:30 on ABC tomorrow. Some of the other games that could be interesting off the beaten path. Georgia Tech, North Carolina. Tech's trying to keep a sort of a special season going on the road at North Carolina. That one could be tricky in my opinion.
Could be. Carolina catching 4 in that spot. Something's just off with Carolina, and you really wonder. I mean, this has got to be it for Mac, right?
I would think so. I mean, it's just a program that is going nowhere fast. I don't know who you go get. I don't know who the hot names are out there.
I think Carolina can be a decent job. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but when you've got other teams in the ACC like Pittsburgh right now nationally ranked, Carolina's a better job than Pitt.
It would seem to be, yeah.
It's an athletic department that seems like it always has money and should be able to be competitive. But for some reason, they have not been as consistent as football as they could be. Another ACC game, 2:30 ACC Network, Louisville and Virginia. I know this isn't on everybody's forefront here, but I keep waiting for Louisville to sort of take off, and then Virginia's sort of been nagging on people this year.
Yeah. Virginia's one of those. I would compare them to maybe the South Carolina right now of the ACC, where they can yuck it up just enough. They're good enough to beat a team on a given Saturday. That is a game that I have absolutely no interest in. Louisville, their expectation in the middle of October was to be undefeated, maybe one loss. I don't know how good Louisville is. I thought that they were going to be better than this.
I thought that SMU win, I mean, it was way off the radar, I know, for a lot of people. But if you watched any of that game, and I watched a good bit of Louisville and SMU.
Oh, that was off the radar? I thought it was an entertaining game.
It was a fun game to watch.
It's off the radar when Tennessee loses to Arkansas, Alabama loses to Vanderbilt, and all those other, and Texas A&M destroys Missouri. I'm just saying, I don't know how many people were watching Louisville and SMU. It's a very impressive win by SMU. That is a team that is finally playing, I think, the way we thought they would play this year. They were such a slow-starting team, but I think they have finally gotten to the level that we thought SMU might play at to contend for the ACC.
And they get a bye, right?
I believe that is correct.
Yeah, and I it hadn't cashed yet, but I said that was one of my top 5 total plays coming into the year, over 8.5. I thought that they got a little disrespected just because they were going to the ACC, and after the first couple of weeks when the offensive line looked so bad, it looks like that they've cleaned a lot of that up.
Did they survive Nevada, or did they lose at Nevada?
They survived.
Survived
down
Nevada.
17 in the fourth. But
you heard Ferman talk about Nevada in his pick earlier as his sneaky pick this weekend, Nevada plus the points. He thinks they win it outright. So in hindsight, not such a bad struggling game there for SMU. More of our pick 3. Right now you can go to nextroundlive.com. Nextroundlive.com. We'll do it after trash, but you can go all the way up until kickoff tomorrow, 11 a.m., and play the pick 3 games. It's Saturday games only. Right there on our website, nextroundlive.com. Buffalo Wild Wings bring you the pick 3. Just like Forrester's doing live on the air now. You click it, you go and pick your games and enjoy the pick 3. Try to go 3-0 and get a ball in the bucket and a chance to win the grand prize at the end of the year. Brett from New Mexico, 3 balls in the bucket already. You heard Jeff Amanison, 2 balls in the bucket already. Wow. A lot of great pickers out there, over 90 winners last week. Try to be one of those this week. Trash time right now, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Hit it, Tyler.
The line is baked in a buttery, flaky crust.
Baked on a buttery crust. Baked on a buttery, crispy crust.
Damn, flaky.
I thought so. Flaky. Baked in a buttery flavored crust. Crust.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Hey, zero cost or obligation to have a conversation with our friends at Mortgage Right. Partner with us since day one right here on our venture. 205-900-7200, mortgageright.com/TNR, NMLS 2239, equal housing lender. So it's been 3 decades since Green Day solidified their place in punk rock with their 3rd studio album, Dookie. It's got to be, as far as punk rock is concerned, it's got to be the biggest selling punk rock album of all time, right?
Yeah, probably the biggest selling, because they did so well that they were rejected from a lot of the punk community for being sellouts and making pop music.
That's what I was going to ask, because I thought if you were successful on the charts, then you weren't really a punk rocker.
That was the problem that Metallica had with heavy metal. Like, a lot of people, like, you changed your image. You've made it commercially. Okay, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
That's like some of these actors, when Paul Giamatti, I'm trying to think of a role that he took.
Billions.
Billions would be one. But, a lot of these guys will take a cash grab for a big studio film that's not going to be worth a shit. It's going to be bad content, but it's a big payday.
But the most disingenuous...
Like Kevin Hart in anything he takes.
Who?
Kevin Hart.
Yeah, you're right.
Any project he takes.
Yeah, but
Guy does not say no.
The disingenuous thing is like those that don't ever get that offer, and they disparage the ones that took the cash grab.
Right.
Like, if you had the opportunity,
99.9%.
Absolutely.
Now, to mark its 30th anniversary, the Brain Stew musicians collaborated with Art Studio Brain to drop a new and deeply unusual version of the now certified double diamond record that marked their mainstream breakthrough. Appropriately, the re-release has been dubbed Dookie Demastered. Now, in what feels like an early April Fool's Day prank, the first of its kind demastered version of the 1994 album was released this past Wednesday in 15 different formats. I'll let you walk us through these, Tyler.
So every song is available in a different format, and they're all extremely low quality, hence the demastered part of the title. But you can listen to the song "Chump" on that vintage Teddy Ruxpin doll.
Okay.
They've got another song on that toothbrush there. If you want to listen to "Welcome to Paradise," you've got to get that Game Boy cartridge. Let's see, what was the?
Are they trying to make money doing this, Tyler?
Yeah, it's just a little limited collectible sort of run.
I'm going to say this is a bad business plan.
Is that a cassette recorder in the middle?
It is. And if you want to hear the song "Basket Case," you got to get that Big Mouth Billy Bass there.
Those things drove me nuts. And watching The Sopranos for the 5th time through, there's an episode that's got Big Mouth Billy Bass.
Take me to the river.
Yeah. Well, that's a song that's usually played there, so they've replaced that with a Green Day song. Pretty cool. I'd rather have that than the typical song that's on the Big Bass.
So Cookie Monster needs to put the desserts down just reading, by the way.
Okay.
And pick up the driver's handbook because a person dressed like the famous Muppet was caught speeding on camera in Germany. Look at this.
Oh, no. You get cookies.
Photos taken by a roadside camera captured the person, blue suit on and big googly eyes, focused dead ahead on the road. The monster was reportedly going 60 and a 50.
Driving an Audi, so Sesame Street paid better than I thought.
Yeah, I think more so, this is a 57-year-old man that was wearing the disguise. I think more so they were upset not about going 10 miles over the speed limit, based on the fact that it would be really difficult to see with that on. Like, I can't even imagine driving with that on.
Hard to check your mirrors at that point.
Right.
Yeah. It's got to be against the law, even in Germany.
Like even at Halloween, if you're in your costume and it's affecting your vision, you could get a ticket for that, right?
Yeah, you got to take your hat.
Yeah, like are you staring through the mouth or the nose?
That's a good question.
You're not looking through those eyes.
No, those eyes aren't going to work for you.
Yeah, usually it's the mouth in costumes, right?
Yeah, the old mesh mouth.
Yeah, it's normally the mouth.
Yeah, and Cookie Monster's got a big mouth, as I remember Sesame Street.
Yeah, I think so. Officers on Tuesday night stopped a man and a woman driving a stolen car in southeast Portland. They found much more than a stolen car. This according to the police. When officers pulled over Mia Rochelle, 37, and Reginald Reynolds, 35, they searched the car and discovered cash, loaded revolver, scales, and a bag that had, quote, definitely not a bag full of drugs printed on it, with what you can imagine, drugs inside, according to the police.
I'll throw them off. We got everything else, but this is definitely not drugs.
Old school pistol there.
Yeah, it is.
So there was fentanyl, meth, over 10 grams. Now, what is lawful and unlawful in Oregon? Because you can actually have hard recreational drugs, right?
That's a good question. It seems to be just about anything goes.
I remember when the law passed, we talked about it on the show, that you could, it was on the ballot, I think, and they actually voted for it, right?
For heroin, right?
Yeah, heroin or meth or both.
Or, everything.
I think all of them are decriminalized.
Like, it wasn't, as I remember it, Tyler, and I could be wrong about this, it wasn't just like some legislators got involved and did it. It was like on a statewide ballot, and they actually voted for it. And I think it was relatively overwhelming, the vote in favor of it.
Is that what you would call a Saturday night special revolver?
Yeah, that looks like just a regular old snub-nose 38.
Looks like, Jim, and I am no expert in this, that the handle is designed so one does not leave fingerprints.
Yeah.
Could be incorrect on that, though.
And then 2 scales. Is that what those are? Scales to weigh my drugs?
Got to weigh the bag full of definitely not drugs.
Yep, those are little digital scales.
And that would be cold hard cash that you get from selling drugs.
Gee, so I guess you buy that bag online?
Definitely not a bag full
of drugs.
drugs.
Is that a stocking stuffer?
Like an Etsy purchase or something?
Probably not going to get that for the kids.
My aunt made it for me.
I was watching, I think it was, it was the social media that pops up. I think it was on TikTok. It may have been on Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, one of the night shows that I only see in social media form. And some actress who I didn't know had gone to a Caribbean island. No, it was Caymans. Down to the Caymans, and CBDs are illegal there, and she didn't know that, which is why you have to check international law before you go.
Correct.
And she got arrested and taken to jail.
Just taking gummies?
Just CBDs, what perfectly legal here, but CBDs, no marijuana or anything in them, just the CBDs, whatever that's in
Wow.
the CBD to help you sleep and relax.
Interesting.
She was going to relax. She got hauled into jail. And I think she joked about the definitely not a bag full of drugs bags that someone else had.
So you know
in
this
the
person?
airport. No, it was on
Oh,
Jimmy
yeah, that's
Fallon.
right. She said on Jimmy Fallon. Got hauled into jail.
Yep.
Wow.
On Wednesday, New York-based software developer Nick Spreen received a surprising alert on his iPhone 15 Pro, delivered through an early test version of Apple's upcoming Apple Intelligence Text message summary feature. It went on to say, no longer in relationships, wants belongings from the apartment. The AI pen message reads, summing up the content of several separate breakup texts from his girlfriend that arrived on his birthday, no less. Spreen shared a screenshot of the AI-generated message in a now viral tweet on X, writing, quote, for anyone who's wondered what an Apple Intelligence summary of a breakup text looks like, Spreen told Ars Technica that the screenshot does not show his ex-girlfriend's full real name, just a nickname. This summary feature of the Apple Intelligence, announced by the iPhone maker in June, isn't expected to fully ship until an update in the fall. However, it has been available in a public beta test since July, which is what Spreen is running on his iPhone. It works something like a stripped-down Chat GPT, reading your incoming text message, delivering its own simplified version of their content. This could never be wrong, right?
Yeah. So basically, if I just ignore my text, this thing will summarize it and say, basically, the 20 texts you missed from your girlfriend say this.
Pretty much.
And in his case, it was, we done, I need my stuff.
Yep.
Well, that sucks.
YouTube has a AI chat summary feature, too. Sometimes if I don't open the chat for a while and then pop it up, it'll give me the rundown of what everybody's saying.
Like the mybookie.ag chat you're talking about on our show?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
But recently it said that people were upset about Vanderbilt's performance, which could be true, but not in the way that you would think.
In a weird way.
They performed too good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if I get text in the show, a lot of times I'm aware of them, but I forget to go back and respond to them. But rarely do I have enough unread text, unless I'm just tired of my phone, that I need this. I don't know why this is a thing. Do people get enough text, I guess, that this is a thing? That you need a summary
I
of
would
them?
think so, especially if you're going through a toxic breakup.
Well, I guess so. And I just don't want to read her text. They're just going to send me a summary of them?
What was her pet name or whatever?
I don't know. That's a good question. Well, I bet it changed after that summary right there.
MB could be mean bitch.
Could be.
Could be. My balls.
It could be a lot
Or
of
he
things.
hasn't changed it yet, and it's just like my baby or something like that.
Yeah, my boo.
Yeah.
That is it. Our trash brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. If you're looking for your first home, your final home, you need very little down or you need a massive down payment, our friends at Mortgage Right, they can give you all the advice you need when it comes to mortgages. They are your mortgage experts, 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com.
All right, Johnston RV Center is going to help you see America in an RV. I know I've been promising falling temperatures. I've looked ahead. It is going to fall next week. It will feel like fall. It'll be in the 70s and 60s. Enjoy that in an RV from johnstonrvcenter.com. Right now, travel trailers as low as $145 a month. Fifth wheels starting with savings over $45,000 at Johnston RV Center. RV warranty forever. Make sure you got a lifetime warranty on anything new and qualifying used. And you can see everything at johnstonrvcenter.com. Johnston RV Center brings you the Saturday morning college football preview we do. We'll be live at Academy Sports and Outdoors. It's the brand new location. Grand opening. And they're like, what could make an opening even grander? Having the next round there doing the college football show.
Fantastic.
So we'll do that Saturday morning, tomorrow morning, right here on Highway 280. It is 9 to 10. We'll be live there hanging out, talking football. So come by and enjoy the grand opening of Academy Sports and Outdoors. They were, when you're opening a store, sometimes dates, you just never know, can we hit that date? So this has been a little tentative. So I haven't gotten a final answer on this. Do you guys think you like those chairs they have where you fold out at a ball game that Academy shares? Would you just sit in a couple of those?
Sure.
That's comfortable, right?
It's all of an hour.
Yeah, it's all of an hour. I think we could sit in just about anything.
At one point, I wanted to spend the night in there like Marty and Laura Rutledge did that time when they launched the Academy somewhere.
I'd forgotten about
They did those commercials where they were there overnight and they had a campfire going, playing all the sports and all of that. So we can't wait to get out there to Academy and do all that tomorrow. We'll be there live 9 to 10 right there off of 280. You watch us as you always do every Saturday on our video platform. Champy's Chicken is here. We'll enjoy them in a moment. But right now, let's jump back into college football with our Buffalo Wild Wings Pick 3. Tyler, one more time. Hit it, buddy.
Pick three, it's time for the pick three. 3 for you and 3 for me, that equals a pick 3. Say goodbye to your family, it's time for the pick 3. Only time that I'm happy is when it's time for pick 3.
Hey, and Buffalo Wild Wings wants to remind you 11 Central Alabama locations, including that Buffalo Wild Wings Go location in Vestavia, #1 sports bar in Birmingham for over 20 years, wall-to-wall TVs, all locations remodeled, 26 sauces and seasonings, along with a full menu of great burgers, wraps, and salads. Get in all weekend long to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings updated standing. A good week for you guys last week. Still no ball in the bucket, though, but 2-1 for you guys. Gets us to 8-10, 7-11, 7-11.
Awful.
What a tight race, though. What a tight race. Somebody's got to win this division, Lance.
We are keeping it close down the stretch right here. We'll talk about more of the games and then give you our picks in just a second. Before we get to our picks, guys, let's get back into some of the games to sort of talk and help the guys around who may go play the games, the guys and the girls who may go play the games at nextroundlive.com, nextroundlive.com. Georgia giving up a boatload of points at home against Mississippi State. As a guy who occasionally offers advice on gambling at lanceslock.com, when you get the point spread this big for a team like Georgia, do you usually tend to stay away from it, or do you, if you love it, do you just pound
Yeah,
to
I
give the
think
points?
you pound it out. I just don't know how good Georgia is. You know, watching them last week, I backed them against Auburn, and they just seem a little off from the version of Georgia that we have seen in the past, and maybe last week had a little to do with the hangover coming off the Alabama game. Michael Van Buren, he's been okay. I don't know what the expectation can be once Shapen went down for Jeff Lebby in year one with this offense, but this is a team, let's not forget, lost by 24 at home to Toledo. I don't think this number is too high. I'll come back to this game in our pick 3.
Oh, boy. Yeah. It appears on Lance's board. When you've got the...
By the way, Georgia cost you and me. That kept you from being 3-0 last week. They didn't cover against Auburn.
Yeah, I know.
Did you ever feel like they were going to?
Nope.
I didn't either. It was just, you're right. It was just kind of a sluggish performance. They never could put Auburn away until that missed fourth down. That
I will say
controversial.
This is something to watch out for, though. Trevor Etienne had his best game last weekend, and Mississippi State gives up a lot of yards on the ground. So I could see that could be the only maybe negative of laying 34 in this spot is Georgia really tries to get that ground game cooking.
If you're dead last in your conference in both scoring offense and scoring defense, is that a bad thing?
That's a terrible thing.
Well, State is dead last in scoring defense. The only thing keeping them from being dead last in scoring offense is Kentucky's always anemic offense, which is a little worse in terms of scoring points per game than Mississippi State. So when you play State, I think objectively you're playing the worst team in the Southeastern Conference. And whether you think Georgia is good or not, they're one of the best teams in this conference. Them, Alabama, Texas, Ole Miss, wherever you want to put it, Georgia's in that group.
Florida and Tennessee and Knoxville. I don't know where you are in Tennessee right now, but after the loss to Arkansas, it had to be much like in Tuscaloosa, it had to be the same feeling in Knoxville all week long.
I would think so. I mean, it feels a little better because it's Arkansas, not Vandy. That's just name brand, though, right?
This is, 14 points for Tennessee. And they had a double-digit lead, and it's their first conference loss when leading, entering the fourth quarter since 2017. 14's the fewest they've scored in a game since 2020. So you haven't seen this from a Heupel offense. You expect them to bounce back against Florida defense that's given up some points.
I'm not going to ask you for a letter grade on Nico. I assume it's not an A or a B.
It was an A until
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Listen to this, though. This is interesting. Here are his passing yards this year. 314, 211, 173, 194, 158. I mean, it has just been a steady decline in that passing yardage. I don't know, we told you.
I mean, Jackson Arnold was disappointing, and he got benched. Nico has become disappointing.
What was the time of possession in that Arkansas-Tennessee game? Because that was a big talking point for Bama and Vandy because Alabama only had the ball 17 minutes and some change. It seemed like Tennessee and Arkansas, it felt like to me anyway, 31-29 Arkansas. Felt like it was a lot closer in that game.
Oh, you're talking time of possession. Okay,
yeah, time of possession.
Yeah, you have to give me a second to find it.
Way down at the bottom.
It is not. It is right here in the middle. I'm going to give you Arkansas's time of possession, I think. They had it for, I don't have it. Arkansas left so many points on the field in the first half of that game. Like, in a lot of ways, it felt like Arkansas beat them worse than 14-13. But then the way Tennessee played in the third quarter, it felt like Arkansas was not the better team. I really don't know what to take from that game.
I thought if Arkansas won the game, it was going to be a shootout. And Taylor Green was just going to have like a career game, and they didn't do that. They won it with defense.
Yeah. So that's another game. If you will give me a thought on where you are in Clemson right now. Since that Georgia loss, they seem to have gotten better.
Best team in the ACC.
Wake Forest this
better
weekend,
than Miami.
No problem against Wake Forest.
Should be no problem. Cade Klubnik's playing with a lot of confidence, and really they've had one bad half of football. That was it. Second half against Georgia. Outside of that, Clemson has been really good. I fully expect Clemson to win the ACC and get back to a college football playoff.
Are you still fully in on Vandy losing at Kentucky after beating Alabama? Forget the point spreads. They're going to take it on the chin.
More on that in a moment coming up at my pick 3. I just think Kentucky, I just told you how bad they are offensively. They're probably that good defensively, Lance. Everybody they play, maybe with the exception of South Carolina, has their worst offensive output of the season. I don't think South Carolina did against Kentucky, but I would almost wager that every other team they've played has suffered their worst offensive performance.
Well, yeah, look, Kentucky's defense really good. 11th nationally, only giving up 13.4 points per game. 2 pick sixes in this game last year against Vanderbilt. If something like that happens. Now, the good news is Diego Pavia has yet to turn the football over. He hasn't thrown a pick. He's 13th nationally in quarterback efficiency. He's the team's leading rusher, 18 carries per game, and they are looking to become the first team since 2004 to win back-to-back outright games as 14-plus underdogs. I don't see it happening. Pavia has got to have an off game sooner or later, and I think it's this weekend in Lexington.
The only quarterback to throw for more than 200 yards against them has been Jackson Dart last week. I mean, they have limited every quarterback, whether it's Lenore Sellers or Carson Beck. Any quarterback they've played, they have limited pretty well this year. What?
Jackson Dart last week.
Against Kentucky.
Or
the last game they played.
Against Kentucky was off last week. With Jackson Dart. So time of possession, 35, back to that Tennessee-Arkansas game, 35-25. So they had the ball half a quarter more than Alabama did, Tennessee did, and still didn't put up a lot of numbers. So some of these great quarterbacks in some sticky games on the road haven't looked good. We'll see how they all look this weekend. That gets us to our picks. Once again, brought to you by the wonderful folks at Buffalo Wild Wings. They roll with us all the time in their great locations, LT.
Yeah, 11 Central Alabama locations, including that Buffalo Wild Wings Go location, 26 sauces and seasonings, along with a full menu of great burgers, wraps, salads. Get in all weekend long, not only for all of the action on Saturday, but NFL Sunday ticket as well. It is Buffalo Wild Wings.
Daniel says Pavia is the next Brock Purdy at the next level there.
A zero chance.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Pavia might be 5'10".
Yeah. Great
he
story.
Looks bigger on TV. He's only 5'10"?
Yeah, he's listed at 6 feet, like 215. I believe the 215 part.
It may be higher.
Pavia's 5'10".
We always appreciate your comments in the MyBookie.ag chat room. MyBookie.ag. Promo code next round. Get you a deposit bonus for the games this weekend. Brownie, start us off with your plays. What do you have for us?
I am going to take Kentucky minus the 12.5. I just think Vandy's been celebrating that win too long. Kentucky's coming off that bye. Their defense has played really well. I think Kentucky minus the 12.5. I think it ends for Iowa State. The Magic ends for Iowa State, West Virginia at home, plus the 3.5 in front of a bunch of hillbillies, you said, right, Lance?
Right.
Those hillbillies have to play in front of if you're at Iowa State. That's a bunch of loud hillbillies. They'll burn a couch or two. LSU plus the 3.5. You telling me Ole Miss, who hasn't won in that stadium since 2008, is giving points to LSU on a night game in Baton Rouge the way Ole Miss has played? Give me
How
LSU.
many flasks between those three fan bases will be taken in?
They give you one at the gate. If you don't have one, they're like, I patted you down.
I think you might have got your first ball in the bucket right there.
All right. Thank you.
I've got Texas minus 14. I'm going big favorites here. Texas minus 14.5. Georgia, I'm going to lay it again And I've got Kentucky minus 12.5.
You sit here all day and talk about how you don't know about Georgia, and then boom, right there, I'm going to lay 34.
Is it 33.5, or is if it's 34, we got to throw a half on that, one way or the other?
Let's give him a half. I'm going to give him.
I'm okay going down to 33.5.
I'll take 34.
We'll go 34.5 for that one. And then Ohio State, LSU, and Tennessee for me. I like the Buckeyes surviving. I just think their offense is too good against Oregon, and still, I mean, their percentage Oregon is with their short passing is down 7 or 8% from what it was with Bo Nix to Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, Bo Nix was better than Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, especially with that short passing game. I agree with you guys on LSU. And then I like Tennessee. I just don't think Florida will have enough firepower in Neyland. Maybe I'd feel different about this game if it was in the Swamp. But I'm going Ohio State, LSU, and Tennessee. You can play the games always up until kick, 11 a.m. tomorrow, nextroundlive.com, nextroundlive.com. And that gets you all the way to our website, and then you play the game and maybe a ball in the bucket to win the grand prize at the end of the year. All right, one more thought on South Carolina and Alabama, 11 a.m. tomorrow. We'll talk more about it on our pregame show at 9 a.m. Central Time. Nick Sheridan play calling last week. We never talked about that with all the aftermath because it was all factored on Kane Womack and stuff. I think so far this year, Nick Sheridan's called some really great plays, and then last week, they just never had the ball.
Well, yeah, he could do no wrong in the first half against Georgia. And then I think people thought maybe got a little too conservative, and they didn't. And it was almost like that Alabama offense got thrown out of whack on the second play of the game, the tip pick six, and it just never was the same. If I'm an Alabama fan, sooner or later, Justice Haynes, Jam Miller, they've got to take over a game, and you've got to let those guys get 10-plus carries each.
We thought it was going to be that way against Vandy. Remember we said it all week.
Yeah.
I saw an Alabama fan this week in my local Mexican joint, one of the bigger Alabama fans I know, and he said he was obviously upset with the loss and the defense. He's like, our offense is just fine. We scored 35 points in 19 minutes. Who else in the country is going to do that? I mean, he's right about that. 35 points in 19 minutes
look, if
is
they had
pretty good.
a normal possession time of 28 to 32 minutes.
That's a 50-point game.
60, probably.
Yeah, 60-point game. So he is right about that. I kind of looked at the offense as uneven coming out of that game. He did have two massive turnovers. A pick six that really that pick six just changed the whole feel of everything. And then maybe the biggest play in the game was the sack fumble when Pritchett got beat off the corner. I mean, that's two critical turnovers. So you got to factor that in, too.
All right, Chad, thank you, man, for listening to the show. We appreciate you so much, and glad you're enjoying the gear there. You can pick up your latest gear. Nextround.store. Nextround.store takes you to the shop where you can check out all the T-shirts and the hats and everything that we have there. Hoodie season's coming back. You can get a cool hoodie there at nextround.store. Enjoy your football weekend. That starts tonight with a pretty good Utah and Arizona State game from the desert in Tempe. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.